What is up, guys and gals? It is I, your fantastic host of Guywire, joined with Mr.
Chris Andrews.
The man, the myth, the legend, from what we understand.
Absolutely the legend.
We're graced in the Checkmate Studios today with Miss Michelle and Candy of the Sips of Crime podcast.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, guys.
Welcome. We hope that the drive wasn't too rough for you today.
It was so far.
What, from down South King?
Well, yeah.
Well, y'all came to the big city, so.
Sometimes you have to go over the mountain depending on how the crow flies. But we're going to have some wine and some crime and add some guy flavor to that.
A little bit of guy flavor to the
Guy
We
flavor.
got sips of crime, and then we've got sips of beer. So
Yep.
So what are we drinking today? What are we talking about?
We are going to drink this Phantom Red. It's nice and Halloween-y.
Yes,
Ooh.
it's very spooky.
Yeah, the bottle looks spooky.
It does, don't it? Perfect.
She knows how to pick them.
I forgot I picked this one.
So is this something y'all have had before? Or?
Nope, we always do something we've never had before. And each
mystery.
one of our episodes, we always do something that we've never tried.
Mystery booze, I like it.
Yes.
Okay.
And she texted me. She's like, here, I'm going to bring these. And I was like, okay, do you want me to give you some money for it? She's like, no, you bought these. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
I would have been like,
forgot.
yeah, pay me. Pay me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do all of the technical stuff with it, and whenever I originally introduced this option, I was telling Candy, I was like, because I didn't want to put too much pressure on her, because this was kind of my baby, and I was like, if you will just buy the wine and bring it, that can be your job.
There you go.
And obviously her job has grown.
Now I just ship it to her house.
Well, it's kind of an interesting. We have a similar dynamic with the Guywire. He takes care of a lot of the technical stuff. I'm learning the cameras and the lighting, that end of things, as well, to help out. But I always keep the fridge stocked with beer. That's it's completely
Perfect.
self-serving. When I get here, I just want to walk in and grab a beer. I
Right.
don't have to stop.
You don't
on
have
the
to
way.
ask.
So yeah, I keep his fridge stocked with beer.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
She keeps me stocked with wine. I love the
No,
dynamic.
and she thought I brought wine in today. I had a box, and she's like, you got more wine? I was like, no, these are just your cups. So the Phantom Red, you know that feeling, a sensation that someone or something is with you when you thought you were alone. Over the years, such encounters have occurred at our winery, and we refer to this elusive figure as the Phantom.
Ooh.
Numerous sightings have intrigued us over the years, with visions of muddy work boots and blue jeans lurking in the cellar. Many are convinced the Phantom truly exists, while others remain skeptical. Do you believe?
I'm a
Dun, dun,
believer.
dun.
Are we pouring all four?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a requirement. Here, I'll give you this one.
It's not a requirement.
It's not
but
a
you
requirement.
have
I'll
to
just
drink
pour
it.
y'all.
It's not a requirement that
But it
you
is.
finish the wine. It is a requirement that you taste the wine.
Yeah, and I'm the biggest troglodyte when it comes to wine anyway. It all just tastes like grapes to me.
No. Negative.
I mean, it's grapes with alcohol, so I'm on board with it.
Alcoholic grapes. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not used to pouring 4 glasses. It takes a
Well,
little
that definitely makes me think of something that it's been one of my pet peeves for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Raisins.
What about raisins?
Fuck raisins.
Watch your mouth.
Oh.
I drop the F word all the time.
I don't
Literally, as soon as I say it, he's like, watch your mouth.
I love raisins. I love raisins, man. Those
No,
little
raisins are the
cookies,
most
raisin
unnecessary
I hate a raisin.
fruit. And they put it in carrot cake. Why? Why put it in
Why?
It's like such a good cake. and you
What
completely-
other than the raisin bread, what bread is they have?
Raisin, well, there's...
It's like a cinnamon.
Coffee
Like
cake. It's
your
in
Oh,
coffee
the
cake
cinnamon
sometimes.
swirl raisin. Yeah. Yeah. The only thing
Get
I
the
can do it
raisins
is
out
a
of it.
cinnamon raisin bagel. That's the only thing
Now,
I can
if
do
I
it
do
in.
it, I have to have it toasted. I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
just
absolutely.
eat it cold. No.
Yeah. But
Cheers.
I'll eat a box of raisins. I don't care.
You're gonna have
raisins
diarrhea.
are just rejected grapes. I mean, they're literally
They
all
could
it
have
is.
been wine.
No, they're not good enough for wine, so they made them into grapes or into raisins.
I think I'm pissed off right now because I love the California raisins claymation so much when I was a kid.
That one's pretty good.
That is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not.
Surprising.
It's definitely wine.
It would be better if it was out of the skull of Jeffrey Epstein, but you know. I mean, wait, what was that out loud?
Well, that bottle didn't open itself.
It was open. I didn't open that one.
Hillary. This motherfucker trying to get fancy over here.
Pinky up.
Yes.
Pinky's up.
Pinky up. No.
Cheers, bitches.
That's a B word that bitches don't like to be called. Okay.
No,
I
it's
do
the
not take
C
offense.
word you got to
I
stay
don't.
away from.
I was about to say, yeah. It's stay
Yeah,
away
I'm
from
not
the
a fan
C
of
word.
that word.
But the
I don't
problem
like
is
to use it even.
No, it's so fun to say. It's
I
so
don't
cathartic.
like it.
Like calling
Now,
somebody
if
the
a girl
C
does
word is so
make me mad.
therapeutic.
The see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
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 That's good shit.
Yeah.
I can't get on board with it.
Now,
I mean,
if I'm in
I
a bad mood and some girl pisses me off, it's probably gonna slip.
Like I would love to live in the UK for like 6 months,
Yeah,
just
they
so
use-
that could
they
become like
fly.
a normal part of my
Yes,
vocabulary.
they use that
They use
word
it all the
Oh, yeah.
time over
Yeah.
there.
It's like, he'll walk in there and I'm like, hey, what's up, fucker? That's what they say there is,
Yeah.
hey, what's up, C word?
Yeah. Oh gosh.
It's good times. So before we move into the more macabre topic of the evening, we'd like to ask you guys, is there anything that's pissing you off? Is there a certain subject that just really grinds your gears?
Do
Yeah,
you have
grapes.
time?
Motherfucker, you're doing grapes.
I'm going to do it one more time. Comedy comes in threes.
I'm going to
remember.
rehydrate them.
They're still going to suck.
I don't think they're gonna soak them up. They're not.
What if you soaked grapes in wine?
What if you soaked raisins in wine?
It'd just be
is what you're trying to say.
That's what I mean.
it'd be like a wine chew.
Oh, you could grind
You
it up
take
and put it in
frozen
your...
grapes, though.
We have-
No, dehydrate it and make fruit roll-ups out of it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Wine
Like the
fruit roll-ups.
grapes?
No, the wine and the
Oh.
grapes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
like
thought
make
we
like
were
a
back
free.
on raisins.
I know what you're. Oh
I'm
gosh,
like,
Yeah.
ugh. We
Wine
do.
fruit
We do.
roll-ups.
In the summertime, we do freeze grapes and put them in the wine glasses as like little wine cubes. But then the grapes soak up the alcohol and you can eat them afterwards.
Now the wine slushies, I can get into that.
You need to go to Brandon Hills.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them around here that do the wine slushes.
Yeah, Brandon Hills is one of our absolute favorites. It's in the heart of Yadkin Valley, and they have this peach wine that is like,
Delicious.
oh my gosh, I don't think we can talk about it enough on our podcast, but it is our absolute favorite. And in the summertime, that hits just right.
All right, I feel totally. I've had all my girl talk for the month. I'm totally fulfilled now. That's awesome.
Back to my beer.
Drink it fast.
The wine went right to my head.
Yeah. There's a. I don't know if you have a full time to talk about what's pissing us off.
Just pick one.
right?
Just pick one thing. Roll with that, and then we'll kind of round robin it.
For me, so I had to go into the office today. I'm sure, just like most of us, we're on hybrid schedule, right? So sometimes I get to work from home. Sometimes I have to suck it up and go to the office, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I cannot stand the random pleasantries while people pass by you and they like look at you legitimately and they're like, hey, how are you? But they don't actually give a shit.
And they don't even know you.
And
Most likely.
they have no idea who I am. And it's like, hi, how are you? Like, why do we do that? Like, can we not just stop that? Can you just like smile and wave and we'll be done with it? Like, I would be totally fine because if I'm having a bad day and I stop and I'm like, oh yeah, man, let me tell you, they're going to be like, what?
I didn't want to actually engage you in conversation.
No, that wasn't the point. I hate it. It drives me nuts. It pisses me off more than anything.
Just be like, hey, keep it moving. The copier's
being
over
too
there.
nice.
The copier's over there. Just keep it moving.
It makes me think of Christmas Vacation when everybody's filing by Chevy Chase and he's like, kiss my ass, kiss his ass, you kiss your ass. And just, that's it right there.
It drives me nuts.
I'm not one of those people. I might walk by and do that, like that little smile. It's
Yeah.
not even like that.
No, I
It's more
never
halfway.
walk by people and say, hi, how are you? Like, I'm always like, hope you're okay.
I don't experience that on
say
my
that.
team. Most of us just keep our head down and keep it moving past the cubicle, and it's no problem. But our offices are set up a little different than yours. And along those same lines, we have standing desks in every cubicle.
Oh.
And we have one guy at the front of the row, stands all day long. I can hear all of his phone conversations.
Oh.
I can see exactly what he's doing on his computer, and he's super nice, and fuck that guy.
I can't.
He's super.
I have become such a recluse in my older, like as I've gotten older. Like I literally like I love to
Now they
socialize.
come out of front office.
If you come to my house, I will socialize. You know what I'm saying? Or if we like set something up like this, but like just
play date.
just the general population, I could take or leave at this
No,
point.
if it's someone I talk to normally at work and we're passing in the hallway or something.
And like sometimes we'll schedule lunch.
Good.
Like yeah. But they don't care. Why are they asking? They actually don't care. It
Just
drives me
ask them
crazy.
for $1 every time they go by. Hey, you got
Hey,
a dollar?
you got $1? Yeah. See, at my job, it's I have the same thing. Like I'll get up and I'll be walking down the hallway and my cat walks by me, and we just like look at each other. We kind of flip each other off and keep walking.
Which
And
is how
it's a
cats
great
are.
relationship.
It really
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You can't get in trouble by HR.
Yeah, he's the best coworker.
Right.
Because
Yeah, he won't
I
report
don't
you.
work. Yeah.
What's pissing you off?
Well, it's back to the workplace. Elevator etiquette. I have this little Chinese guy. He does maintenance and like cleaning crew. He's like in charge of maintenance and cleaning in the building. And he doesn't understand that you don't burst in through the elevator as soon as the door opens if you're on the outside of the elevator. and
It's like the Kool-Aid
You
guy.
have to tread, you have to tread lightly.
I literally have to grab him by the shoulders and move. He's a tiny guy. I have to move him like every time that he comes off the elevator. But he's not the only problematic person. It's like 5 people per floor, I would say. And it happens every day, like where the door's open, I'm stepping out, and then somebody's right there in my face. And I don't know how much more of it I can take, to be honest.
Just walk through them. Just
Plow
drop a
'em-
shoulder.
just
Just drop
plow
a
'em
shoulder
down.
and just.
Yeah, take
Oh,
'em-
I'm
take 'em
sorry.
out.
I was trying to get out the elevator.
I'm only
Like, you were in the
5'9",
way.
and for some reason, this bank that we work at employs some big women. Okay,
You just got to hit them lower.
like your height and a lot wider in the hips, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh.
They're shaped like a fucking wisdom tooth. Okay,
Yeah, they're center of gravity. You just got to hit them lower. That's all. And just drive through.
back of the knees or something. I'm gonna start doing single leg takedowns on these. I'm telling you, I'm going to go insane if one more person walks in on me.
Sweep
on
the leg,
elevator.
Johnny.
Yeah, like, and for those of you out there who are not familiar with elevators, when the door opens and you're on the outside, wait 2 seconds.
Let
Take a
people
step
come.
back.
Give it
Like just
about
see if there's
15
somebody in there first.
Yeah,
Give it about
Yeah.
15.
yeah.
Take a
it's
step
just-
back. Allow it to breathe a little bit. You know?
It's not
Kind of
gonna
like a
close.
good bottle of wine, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Elevator etiquette, wine
Decant.
etiquette.
Decant the elevator.
Decant the
Decant
elevator.
the elevator. Yes, it goes hand in hand. The lessons that we learn in life.
Yeah, that's the one. So, how about you? What's pissing you off?
There's a lot of things, but today it started at 5:30 in the morning with my dog constantly licking itself.
Oh, that sound.
I can't stand that noise.
Yeah. The
And he
sound of
done
the
it
dog.
all day today, and he wanted to be in the office, and I'm just like, I can't. So I shut him out of the office. I can't.
I can't.
I hate
can't.
the sound of it.
There's so many places I could go with that are so radically inappropriate that I'm just
Probably-
not even going to touch.
It's
that
probably
one.
the same way my husband would go with it, but
I honestly,
today I could not handle it.
I honestly want to be kind of petty and just put together a track of just dog licking themselves sounds and just upload it to the Guywire channel.
Oh God, it makes my
Sounds to go to sleep.
skin crawl.
I'm gonna report it.
Hate that sound.
No,
So okay, you're probably the same girls that don't like the word moist.
no, I don't.
I don't get. That's
Really?
fine.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
I
totally
figured-
fine with
I
that.
thought that would have gone hand in
No,
hand.
not at all. It's just the
It's
sound.
the-
They don't stop. Once they get started, they don't
Yes.
stop until you kick them.
Yeah, it's just like.
Are you
it goes-
describing your dog or your husband?
If he can,
Sorry, Will.
if Will Cash can lick himself,
Talented motherfucker.
the way that I'm
Teach me
imagining,
your ways.
the way that I'm imagining, A, damn, you're flexible, and B, how did you get that flexible?
Teach me.
That's why you're always so happy, Michelle.
That's horrible. Where? Well,
Chris, what's pissing you off?
I grapes. I told you guys. Grapes.
Oh, that was
yeah.
yours?
That was
Oh, okay.
what was my and just the people that,
Your grape-
that fucking keep putting them in things.
your great gripe is raisins.
Your grape.
You're right.
Well, then.
Because
Have such sights to show you.
Well, now that we've raised a little hell on that, we're talking about a serial killer today, right, ladies?
We are.
yeah, like I think something we can really sink our teeth into.
Yeah. Funny. Punny.
Funny. Oh,
Funny,
I
aren't
mean, you've listened to our show before, right?
Yes, I have.
I mean,
With a side of fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Dahmer is actually still on our case list. We haven't done like an official case on him. It is coming. We want to take that on a little bit more formally, but there's just been this huge stink here recently about the newest everybody keeps calling it a documentary, but it's not. It's a show.
It's a docudrama.
It is.
I mean,
a
Well, how much-
docudrama is a great way to
documentaries.
Well, and how much of it is actual documentary?
Well, that's-
and how
We're
much
going to
of it
go
is
into that. We have
theatrics?
some
Yeah.
notes on it. We're
was-
definitely going to talk about that.
That was one thing I was going to say is a lot of the big gripes and some of the other actual documentaries on him that I've watched. There are a lot of inconsistencies between
Yeah.
the Netflix series and what actually happened in real life. So
Right.
you two ladies are the murder experts, so I'm going to let you handle all that. And then
Yeah,
I'll throw
absolutely.
in my dumb commentary here and there.
Yeah, we're just here for the dick and fart jokes. So I mean,
Stick to what you're good at, right?
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Know your lane.
testicles.
I even told Michelle I was not prepared when I was sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
In what, episode 3?
I
maybe?
think it was 3 or 4, yeah.
Where he's going into the bathhouse and all the men are naked. I was not prepared.
Yeah, they
and there
just
was
stand right up and
wieners
there's just
all in my face. I was like,
dicks everywhere.
I didn't know he was
Right.
gay.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I had no idea. I
remember hearing that,
I had
like,
heard
but-
like my whole life about Jeffrey Dahmer. Unlike you ladies, I'm not into true crime. I don't really get that far into it unless we discuss this. There's a paranormal element
Yes.
involved.
Yes.
So, like, I'd always heard about Jeffrey Dahmer. I didn't know that it was as recent as 1991 when they captured him. I thought it was like late 70s for some reason.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
He falls into that like 70s killer like vibe.
Yeah,
Like Dwight Schrute, except a killer. Which we can't say that he wasn't the Strangler. Was it?
Oh, that was absolutely Toby.
Yeah, it was Toby.
Yeah, come on now.
But yeah, so like I said, we're definitely going to be doing like an official episode dedicated to just to Jeffrey Dahmer.
but we focus more on the
Victims.
We try to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's something that I think it goes kind of hand in hand, obviously like there is this whole, a lot of propaganda, I guess, around true crime. It's very in right now, but I think that the why behind it is really important to make sure that people understand. Like, I really hate the term, my favorite serial killer. It bothers me. It
Yeah.
really does
Yeah,
because
mine's John Wayne Gacy. It's not.
we just
Jeffrey
did.
Like you're
No.
collecting the baseball cards.
No.
or
Well,
something.
he's a clown, and I know so many people, including Wifey Sauce, that hates clowns. And I've been in love with the scary clowns since the original. Then House
okay.
of a Thousand Corpses came out with Captain Spaulding. I've just had a love of that.
See, my problem is somebody let me watch it like right after it first came out, and I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 or something like that,
probably when
and
I watched
it scarred me.
I ate it up, man.
I hate clowns.
Can't stand them.
And it's
Yeah, that's
it's
candy.
not clowns. Like a clown doll, I'm okay
No,
with.
I don't like them at all.
Just
Well,
don't
no,
like any of it.
it's the person that dresses up in clown makeup because John Wayne Gacy.
Right.
There's
Right.
those people out
are you
there.
hiding behind?
And when there was the whole thing of the people dressing up like clowns and like just standing in people's front
back-
yards,
yes.
With the little
that
holding
is
the
like
red
the
balloon.
And
that was
mallets
the ultimate
in the
game.
park. They were in parking garages
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
mallets and stuff, chasing people around.
Yeah.
That was the ultimate game of fuck around and find out because I swear to God, like I carry a firearm on a daily basis. I would have
Absolutely.
smoked the son of a bitch
Right.
like no time at all. And like
I'm surprised.
"Oops, my bad.
I'm surprised there wasn't more reported,
yeah.
murders during
Yeah.
that time. Not of people by the clowns, but people killing the clowns.
And I'll drag them into my front door so it
Yeah.
looks like they were trying to come in.
Give me a
I'm fine
reason.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you hear
I'm
is,
capable.
"Hiya, Georgie."
Yeah, but
Really short movie.
But like I said, I think it's super important to because yes, we tend to do this like kind of cross between like this like super dark idea, but we have mixed it in with a lot of elements of stuff that we enjoy, like the pink portion of our logo, like the kind, what I'm saying, like the more softer sides of it, because we're not really doing it for the dark part. You know what I'm saying?
That was kind of the damnedest thing to me, and don't take this statement the wrong way, but as simply Southern as you are, the fact that you're doing a podcast about true crime and murder and the gruesome details, and sometimes you guys get just like hyped up and laugh your heads off about some of this stuff, and it's like, that's really dark.
Right.
Why is she that dark?
Yeah.
Well, and like, I mean, you and I have worked together for a long time. We've known each other for
I was
quite
just
a while.
about to say
and,
we've known each other for quite some time.
like you are to me, and I know it's where you're from. You're like the epitome of a Georgia peach. Like you're
Absolutely.
the sweetest girl I've ever known in my life. And like when I found out you're like doing this whole murder pod, I'm like, murder? What? Who is
Michelle?
this person?
Yeah, Yeah, and like I said, I think that it's
She gonna kill somebody.
Will, be careful. She's taking notes.
I just think that it's super important to explain the why behind it, because like really what interests us, I think, more than anything is what makes these people tick. It's more of the psychology of it.
Yeah.
And again, focusing on the big victims keeps our kind of head straight, because like we're not in it for the gruesome details. They come along with what we do. And so we have to get comfortable with that.
We're going to report what we research.
Exactly. We're going to tell the truth. But at the end of the day, it's really just a very interesting situation. And I think it's so funny because, you bring that up. I do not do scary movies. I do not do haunted houses. I like the
I can't
aspect
stand a
of
haunted
that.
house.
No, the aspect of that gory, scary portion. I'm good. I don't like it. I don't sleep. I sleep with a nightlight. You think I'm kidding? My bathroom light
That's so fucking
is a
adorable.
Philips Hue light, and it stays on. It turns to a nice, soft, refreshing, and relaxing blue at night.
Will, grab my Squishmallow. It's time to go to bed.
But I'm telling you, so that's not why we're in it, but it's kind of like, my husband doesn't really understand it either. He's like, you can't watch a scary movie, but you'll watch a true crime documentary. And it's like, it's because the true crime documentary is telling me the psychology behind it. I want to know what makes these people tick.
Well, and in some ways it almost sounds like, sorry to cut you off, but in some ways it sounds like you guys were almost advocating for the victims.
We try really hard. It can be difficult because, unfortunately, the information that we do research out there, a lot of it is about the killer itself.
Well, and that's
murderer.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people.
It's hard to find
is,
information about the victims.
Well,
but
and everybody wants to kind of glorify in a way,
and that's
the
not what we
murderer.
want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you guys are talking somewhat about the psychology of the mind of the serial killer, I guess, so to speak.
Because he's always worried he was a serial killer.
No, so when I'm watching the Dahmer series, I'm sitting here like I'm drawing a lot of parallels between myself and him, his mannerisms, some of his habits, some of the habits I used to have.
So I hate it when my humor hits too close to home.
Well, I think that might be the one thing.
I'm totally fucking around, but no, seriously, going through it, there were some things like the social rejection and
we talked about the exact same thing.
For me, it was the public masturbation, but the thing that really I think does
that'll be on our next episode.
I'm not going to be masturbating in public on our next episode.
He'll do it here in the studio.
Get some money for some OnlyFans.
Well, what are we talking about? That'll be on our Patreon.
My feet pics did not hit.
Yeah, but I think that's one thing is kind of he lacked a sense of humor. I think that's the big thing that really separated who I am and the parallels I draw. I'm like, he didn't have a sense of humor, but I can laugh at stuff where to him it was kind of like for anybody that's watched any of the Marvel stuff. The guy Dave Bautista plays, the big green guy.
Oh yeah.
Drax or whatever.
Drax, yeah.
He everything's literal to him. I feel like that's kind of how it was to Jeffrey, to where he really didn't have a lot of emotion. So
see, I it's funny that you say that, because I know that in other episodes that you guys have done, you've discussed the fact that you do kind of go to humor to get yourself into a more comfortable situation that
To
you're
keep
not
us from
comfortable
killing
in.
12 or 15 people. Yeah.
There you go. So, to say that he wasn't, he didn't have one, and that was kind of, your go-to. I mean, that definitely makes sense. I disagree with you a little bit, though, on the fact that he didn't have any emotion, because I think he had a heightened sense of emotion. And that's what caused him to do it.
It's almost like an Asperger's.
Yes,
type.
absolutely. I would love to know a little bit more about an actual diagnosis standpoint of that, because I think it is something he definitely suffered from as a child.
Well, and that's one thing, unfortunately, with the criminal justice system that I like that episode highlighted was the fact that he didn't get the mental treatment that he needed when the signs were there, and they were there.
And he was asking for it.
He was asking for it. His dad was asking for it, wrote a letter to the judge, the DAs, and he never got any of that care.
Right.
And then when he finally got to prison, this is the thing that I find weird about it. Both me and Wifey Sauce were more disheartened by what happened to him and his death in prison than the victims that we saw portrayed on TV. I was more heartbroken because of that, because he was finally in a good place.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, he was finding himself.
We talked about that.
Yeah, it was something that we talked about. To be completely honest with you, I definitely prefer actual fact-based documentaries. Whenever I, want to watch something, especially if we're researching for an episode, or, because we do utilize those documentaries for part of our research. we want it to be fact-based because that's part of what we do. We don't want to bring misinformation. That would be counterproductive to having a true crime podcast to, spread lies.
Wait, you mean like the media?
Right? Like, I'm sure, who does that?
Right.
But, so I wasn't crazy about the series, to be honest. I'll just go ahead and put that out there. It was not something that I enjoyed watching. I wanted to, just to make sure that I was on the same level as our listeners and what other people were taking in. But, like you said, it goes back to the fact of how much was it actually factual. And I do have some notes on it as to some of the differences, but like I prefer to watch episodes after we've finished the episode. The episodes of Monster, I think is the name of the Monster. Both me and Candy had to go back and watch like actual documentaries just to make sure.
What was it? Confessions
of a serial killer.
Oh, it was the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes? Yeah, I watched a little bit of that.
Discovery ID had a really good one too. It was only a 1 hour in a series of different serial killers, but I've got a lot of information that debunked a lot of stuff that was glorified kind of by, the Netflix series. Like he worked in the deli, and this is how he knew how to chop up bodies. No, he worked in the chocolate factory.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was Jeffrey Wonka, for God's sake.
Yes. And I also watched Dahmer on Dahmer.
I didn't watch that one yet.
Which is
Is that kind of like Girl on Girl?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, two very, very different things. But it's like the recordings from the police.
Oh, okay.
So it was like actual tapes. But I did, because we were actually discussing it, that while we were watching the series, we were also like almost in a position where we started feeling sorry for him.
Yeah, I went through all.
It was a very
types of
uncomfortable
emotions.
place for us to be, because that's not where we base our podcast research on. It's not something that we were used to. It's a very eerie feeling to be looking and watching this person, being portrayed. And then you start to feel those emotions. And it's like, you almost have to jump back and be like, okay, he did this. Like yes, there were reasons behind it, and we want to know those and we want to understand them, hopefully to keep it from happening again, which is one of the reasons that we do want these stories out there. And one of the reasons that we started this podcast was to educate ourselves. Unfortunately, as women, we are normally the victims of true crime.
Right.
And there's this huge thing, that people say, like, oh, the women are crazy. They're taking notes, like you had said, blah, blah, blah. But let's face it. I mean, women are normally the victims in these stories.
I think this is one of the few cases where the victims were not typically women.
Right. And so for us to be able to take ownership of that is super important. So we feel like we're almost like providing information for protection.
Okay.
We're providing women with information to, protect themselves, but also, for men to protect women. You have to understand, like, there is a situation where normally it's a man versus a woman, in these true crime episodes that we normally do. So like I said, just understanding the why behind it, bringing light to the victims, making sure that people remember, because a lot of the victims are prostitutes. A lot of victims are nomads, people who aren't always on the best side of society.
Well, and people that are not going to be really missed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People. I think the Morbid podcast is one that I really, really enjoy. They call them undead, the undead. The people who are less dead. They're less dead. They're not going to be looked into. They're not going to be missed. So they're less dead than, your basic average, blonde, blue-eyed white woman who goes missing versus your, indigenous woman who goes missing. They're people. They're people. They're victims all the same. And, we need to tell the stories.
Who was the actress, the Black Dahlia? And then there was the aviator who had the kid that was kidnapped. They were really high profile.
Oh, the Lindbergh baby.
Lindbergh baby. Yeah, that was, some odd ones that they were so high profile and still things happen. But, the castaways of society, I kind of see, why, God forbid, it makes you an easy target.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that surprised me so much whenever we started this podcast was legitimately how much rape actually went on. And I know that's probably, it's like, okay, Michelle, like, did you really not see that coming? But it's like, you really do.
The victims didn't.
That's what I'm.
Oh my God. It's not funny.
My point is, though, I would.
We warned you.
We're coming up on our 22nd episode that just posted, Ed Gein.
Oh, wow.
And our 21st episode. Ed
Yes.
Gein was our 21st episode. But
I didn't know there were 21 serial killers. I mean, I
Oh,
imagine like over
we have
history
a
there
list.
are, but that's crazy.
you should see our list.
Well,
So
Of to-dos.
out of curiosity, like out of this, are there any female serial killers?
Yes.
Okay.
We've covered some. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And it's so funny to see the different dynamics as well. Yeah, that's our list. The check marks are the ones we've done.
Holy smokes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had no idea there were
Yeah.
that many.
And we
serial killers.
we don't just cover serial killers. Not all of them are serial.
Okay.
So,
So, like some mass murders, or
Right.
Some,
Yeah. We
okay.
and natural. I mean, we cover like natural
Like Nanny
disaster.
Doss.
But like I was just about to say, most of the women. It's so funny to see the dynamic because women kill very differently than men. We're cleaner. Obviously, we do it.
So y'all do it better.
We do it better. We're quiet about it, and we're in it for the long game.
See,
This
Will,
is-
she might be coming for you.
We are willing to take the time to make sure that it's done properly.
Get your ducks
So
in a row.
that's
You know what I'm saying?
That's something that is odd to me because it seems that when men kill, it's more emotion based. It's more you go back to like the primeval type of beat your chest and
Right,
and
absolutely.
then bludgeon
Crime of
your
passion.
victim.
Crime of passion.
But
Well, like
you-
Dahmer, when he killed Tony, he was so afraid that he wasn't going to come back. And when
Very emotion based.
right.
Yeah, but what you're saying is like women are more meticulous and they've almost got the emotion part out of the way to where it's now I have something to do.
Right. Task
Which
oriented.
that's the opposite of I think how men and women are kind of portrayed in society. Is women are deemed or classified more emotional, or men are more
Sure.
emotionless. Yeah, that's really interesting. How like,
Very
that-
interesting to find, just the differences because we haven't found a single serial killer who is a woman who bludgeoned, who stabbed, who shot.
Now, they might be out there. We just haven't found
Oh,
them
they
yet.
absolutely are, but it's majority poison.
What about
Poison takes time. Poison
her
takes
name?
patience. Poison takes stealth.
I don't know if she was a real Annie Borden.
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie
Thank
Borden.
you. Lizzie
Yes.
Borden. Yeah.
Borden
Yes.
took an axe, killed her father, 40 whacks.
Yeah, yeah.
When she
Was,
saw
was
what
she
she
a
had
real?
done.
Was she a real
Unproven,
person?
by the way.
Oh, really?
That's all. I think that's all the whole.
It's all speculation.
the bathroom.
I mean, she went down for the
light-
crime.
light
Oh,
off.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
Yes,
that's-
yes,
okay.
yes. Yeah. She went down for the crime, but there's still a ton of people out there who truly believe she didn't do it.
Yeah. And
Because of those factors. Because it was so
she
bloody.
used an axe. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and one
Not
myth
typical.
that I had.
You know, I've pissed off a woman so bad, I'm pretty sure she'd kill me with an axe. So I'd say that's probably valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Wifey Sauce is at a friend's house right now, so you're good. And my axe is in the building.
You're
with a lock
safe
on it.
for now.
But one myth that I had bought into was that I didn't know that Hannibal, the Silence of the Lambs, was released 6 months after Dahmer was caught. I had thought all my life that his character was based on Jeffrey Dahmer.
Like a result of. Yeah.
Because it's just a massively wild coincidence that Hannibal killed people, ate people. There wasn't the homosexual element in that story. However, it was like almost a carbon copy of what Jeffrey Dahmer did, other than that he was a psychiatrist, massively intelligent. Dahmer was just a dumb alcoholic.
Yeah.
You see, I was like 10 or 11 when that all came to light with Dahmer, getting discovered and getting arrested and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
All you heard about was him eating the bodies. Like
Yeah.
that's the
Right.
only thing you
And
heard
it's
about.
It's,
Of course.
it's a very
And-
small portion of the story. He didn't eat everybody. He,
Well,
he
yeah.
wasn't a cannibal for all of his victims.
Wasn't
Well,
it?
and
He only
that's-
he only ate the ones he thought he had an emotional connection to, and he was eating them
to be a part of him.
be a part of him.
Yeah,
So
there
he
was
could-
absolutely a
So technically,
psychological
they would
reason.
never leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
would
Well, I
always
mean, they
be with
will in
them.
about
But
a day and a half.
he wasn't like the crazy cannibal that I feel like that, like you said, that was the big selling point.
No,
too.
well, yeah,
everything-
Everybody
even-
wanted
even
to
like-
know about the cannibal, but
Even like Saturday Night Live and
didn't
Living
really-
Color, all the comedy outlets at the time back in
Yeah.
the early 90s, like they jumped on it. They're just
Right.
like, I mean, a serial killer eating people is like comic gold.
But
absolutely.
Ed Gein was killing to eat people.
Well, there was a big.
Dahmer was only doing it because he wanted them to stay.
Yeah, there was an emotional.
Well, there was a big Saturday Night Live skit. I think it was like Dinner with Dahmer or something like that, and it always ended like with like he's got somebody's arm and he's
He's just gnawing on them.
yeah.
Okay, this is a good.
We do not gnaw on her.
We brought you guys gifts, and this is a good. Yeah, this is.
Oh, presents!
We guys get presents.
Sorry, I just had a 5-year-old lapse there momentarily.
It's okay. I got a 2-year-old at home.
Oh,
He's excited about anything. You give him some lint, he'd be excited.
Oh, that's cool. The JD Culinary School.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, we recently partnered. I wanted to put out something a little different on our merch store, something that wasn't so like Sips of Crime forward.
Okay.
To give everybody loves a good T-shirt, right? But they might not want to splash our logo all over it. So we actually partnered with a girl. Her last name is Caruso, and she runs like an Etsy shop, and she does like fun true crime designs. And I had wanted to put out a line of vintage like college tees, because everybody loves a good vintage like comfortable soft T-shirt, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I wanted to do like what were the options? I said either a college line or a camp,
Yeah.
like a summer camp line,
Yeah.
something like that, but with a twist.
So like Camp Crystal Lake or something
Yes,
like that.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yes,
exactly
yes.
what I was thinking.
And so I asked Candy, I was like, which one do you think we should do? And she was like, well, it's kind of August, like all the kids are going back into school, like a college line would be great. So I gave Caruso just like absolute like freedom, just like freedom of design. I was like, I want 4 designs. You do what you do. You can pick the serial killers, whatever, and just give me something funny. Like you have creative freedom. And so she brought those 4 options to me. And since we were doing this one, I was like, these are going to be perfect. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She has done a lot of awesome stuff.
Yes,
for us.
she's actually the one that did our cups.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Take it true calm, one sip at a time.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
See, now I feel like a schmuck. We didn't get them anything.
They're on the way. I'm having them printed. I just don't have them today.
Gotcha. Way to drop the
No,
ball.
no,
We're
it's
still
fine.
we've had a production issue with our hats, just getting ourselves hats to wear on the
Oh,
podcast.
wow.
It's been- so
Yeah.
it's been good times. But since we are kind of at a break, we'll come back in a moment and we will get to the down and dirty of Dahmer.
Yes.
The triple D, the down and dirty of Dahmer, not diners, drive-ins, and dives.
We're really
Guy
gonna
Ferrero.
gonna dig into this one.
We are. We have a lot
Yeah.
to talk about.
Just cut right into it.
Well, guys, thank you for bearing with us through that brief break that we had. We are talking about Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer. We talked a little bit about the psychology, our separate podcast, and kind of what we're doing and what we're trying to do with those. Michelle indicated that she's more of a victim's advocate
Yes.
with these serial killer things, and that she is not trying to plan to kill her husband.
No, not at all. It's not.
You're safe with
She's
it.
At
not
least
trying
not right
to.
now.
Those plans have been in effect for quite a while. She's just waiting for the moment, like that last straw to execute. Yeah.
So let's get back into kind of the meat and potatoes of Jeffrey Dahmer. Let's hear about some of your research, maybe some of the inconsistencies between what you actually know about Dahmer in the Netflix episode, as that was one of the big pain points with Jeffrey's father.
Yes.
Who I think he has some litigation against Netflix for that now,
Yeah.
as well as some of the victims' families who are very unhappy that the murders have been glorified.
Well, and they weren't warned at all either. There was no foreknowledge that the mini series or whatever it's called it was going to be released.
Right.
No, there was.
Oh, there was, because that's one thing I'd heard is that they were all up in arms about that, not being warned.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and, like I said, let's get this jump started.
Because I really want to know the inconsistencies. That's where I'm curious.
Exactly. And that is something, like I had said, I had touched base on. That's one of the reasons I don't like a drama-based movie. I also haven't seen Zac Efron as Bundy yet.
Right.
I want to watch it. Everybody said that they really like it. But again, I just,
Well, and we've covered Bundy.
we did. We've
2.5
already
hour on
done.
that one.
Yeah, we already did Bundy. And like I said, I hate watching those drama.
Well, first, let's get into the facts of Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, and then we can go from there to the inconsistencies of the Netflix series Monster.
Yeah. So, obviously, yes, he did have a total of 17, I believe, victims. And he was absolutely a cannibal. Okay, he did eat some of those people, but as Candy had stated before, it wasn't every victim.
Right.
And it wasn't a situation where that was what he was looking for. He wasn't killing these people to consume them. And I think that maybe not so much in the Netflix series, but that got lost in his story overall. And something that we've, found more about him is that, as you had stated, there was he was not, he was considered mentally competent to stand trial. I'm not 100% sure if I really agree with that. I do think that there is mental illness here, and I think that it did start very early.
So do you think that was the fault of the defense attorneys?
No, I mean, times were very different back then. Mental health has been obviously a huge topic here recently, especially, just in the last 5 or 6 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was kind of the backbone of the GuyWirePod is getting started.
I was just getting ready to say it was something that really drew me into you guys because, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love the raw, like just unapologetic is a way that I describe you guys.
The dick and fart jokes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. I love it. It really does. It gives me a good break because I have a huge list of true crime podcasts that I listen to on a normal basis. And you guys are like my
toilet humor.
You guys are just like my breather. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy it. But I love the fact that it's based off of a standpoint that you guys really got started with, that first episode of Guy's mental health. And to be completely honest with you, it made me even step back a little bit and look at my husband a little bit differently and take, stuff that he is going through and made me look at our relationship a little differently and take that into consideration. Which is not something I really did before. So you guys, I know that your podcast is, tailored for guys, and that's great. But just know that your female listeners are taking something from it too.
Yeah, that's one thing I like to hear because that was kind of also the goal is just to kind of highlight on just what guys are.
Exactly.
Who we are at our base. And, yes, we have things that pile up on us. We can be emotional, but society's role kind of expects that we're not that person.
Right.
But it's okay if we are.
Exactly.
Guys cry. My kid had his second birthday on the 15th, and which was really hard for me because my sister passed away when she was 2 years old, and he looked so much like her. I think he sensed that, and he wouldn't go to sleep the night of his birthday. And I was down here on the couch with him and brought him down here, and kind of wifey sauce came down. And she's like, "Is everything okay?" And I just broke down. I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm fine, but I think he knew what I needed."
Right.
So. We have a vulnerable side. It's okay, guys. It's okay to have that.
It is, for sure.
And I think more guys need to know that, like that it is okay to show that, and it's okay that other guys do this as well.
And I love the fact that you guys have been encouraging other guys to reach out to you guys. Like, I think that's a huge thing because I do feel like, especially, I mean, I know for a fact, like my husband legitimately has one best friend.
Yeah.
He's currently in the military and stationed in California.
No.
And it has been detrimental to him. I mean, he considers this person a brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was his, kind of Guywire lifeline, And for him to be just plucked out of his life like that, I saw the toll that it took. But I didn't take it into consideration until I heard what you guys had to say.
Yeah, that's one thing that he and I really connected on is that we found somebody in each other that's just as fucked up as each other is.
And then it's okay.
And a very similar kind of fucked up. And there's a security in that.
Exactly.
It's kind of tough to talk about, but there's a security in that. With him, I know he's just as fucked up as I am, so he's not going to judge me for my fucked up.
Exactly.
And having somebody like that in your life, it's almost like a going to a therapy class.
Yeah, it's therapeutic.
Like AA or Narcotics Anonymous, or you've got other people that have gone through similar things that have walked in through the same fires you have.
Exactly.
And I'd honestly say, one of the commonalities, him and I, is PTSD. We've both had traumatic, like his was from combat, mine was from combat with my dad. He had a hell of a right cross.
And I will say that might be a worse type of combat because it's not a combat that in a year you're going to come home from.
Right.
Your combat is at home.
And also he knows his enemy personally.
Right.
You didn't.
Yeah.
it's
But
a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, there's a bond, there's a commonality that we can find that and other men can do that, supporting each other. And I don't think we do that nearly enough.
No,
and
absolutely not.
Not directing this at any of you two ladies, obviously, but so many women, so many wives, so many girlfriends. If we try to show our emotions, and just talking as guys, not specifically us, but as guys, if we try to show our emotions, we get called manipulative. We get called all kinds of things. And that's the big one that
Well, there
comes
must
out.
be a reason behind it. Why, right?
Well,
Like, why are you doing this? You're trying to, you have an alternative motive.
That's the big thing that I've come across in the past is being told I'm manipulative because I have feelings, I have emotions, and that's...
Or when you finally reach that breaking point and the violence inside shows itself, not necessarily
but
towards
then you're
anybody.
a violent person.
Well, then
right?
you're toxically masculine, or you're trying to be the alpha male, or you're trying to prove that you can win a urination contest for lack of
or a
better
spitting
terms.
contest.
Yeah.
Well, and so often we're chastised for sharing our emotions. If we have feelings about something, then we're the bad guy. And then so we do the most common thing. Okay, I'm not allowed to have emotions. I'm just going to shut that shit down. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to put a wall up, and eventually that breaks down and it comes out in the most negative possible way.
Right.
And I have done that myself.
But then you also get chastised for not being emotional enough. It's like it's a lose-lose situation.
It really is. And unfortunately, all guys, I think, are going
Absolutely.
through this. There's going to be exceptions, obviously. I don't want to say all guys, but a large majority of them
Absolutely.
And we've had, before we get back on the Dahmer subject, we have had one, I don't want to say successful case because I won't release the details of what has happened with the person afterwards, but he didn't do what he was thinking about doing, which is harming himself. But he did reach out to me personally after he heard the episode and was like, you seem like somebody who was, a badass because of the military and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And it seems like, you've gone through some shit. Can I talk to you? Can you call me? I was like, it was like 12 at night. I was like, yeah, I'll call you. I was like, first, I need to know, are you thinking about doing something stupid?
Right.
And he was like,
And
well,
just be
I don't know if it's going to be stupid because I lost this person and this is where my life's going. I was like, if you're going to hurt yourself, it's stupid.
Right.
Get out of that headspace and talk to me.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He's in some more trouble, but he didn't wind up harming himself.
Right.
So as with every episode, the email is in the episode description.
Yeah.
It's on our Anchor page. It's on our Spotify page, Google, everything.
And we'll post it in our show notes as well.
It's theguywirepod@gmail.com.
Because we do have male listeners.
Yeah, it comes it comes directly.
Believe it or not.
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
yeah, all the emails come directly to my phone. As soon as I can respond, leave your phone number. Suicide hotline is garbage. The VA suicide hotline is garbage.
Yeah. You need
if you want to talk to a normal guy, email me.
Yeah. And it's really not off subject because I absolutely was tying all of that into, I do truly believe that those are resources that Dahmer didn't have. As we had, discussed, we did go over, kind of his earlier life. And yeah, he had what was portrayed in the movie as kind of a crappy childhood. His father actually will tell you something differently in the actual recorded tapes though. His father in the, I keep saying movie, but in the Netflix documentary that we're talking about, he talks about failing. He talks about how he could have done this, he could have done that, he should have seen the signs, but in a lot of the recorded police tapes, he tells you he had a good childhood. We did things together. He wasn't neglected. All of these things. And I mean, I guess it could go either way. I mean, my personal opinion of neglect might not be your opinion of neglect. So, we try to keep those terms when we're talking about our true crime podcast very loose because we have to understand that one person's trauma might not be the same for another person. They might not react the same way. And we have to respect those differences. But for Dahmer himself, I do believe that he was triggered at a very young age. And, there's also a lot of speculation about the drugs that his mother was on while she was pregnant. Was that something that might have fucked him up in some sort of way even before he was born?
Well, and if you think now, when women are pregnant, there's so much stuff you can't take, and you can only take Tylenol. You can only take, X amount. And
you can't get a foot rub. I mean,
No, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. You are a vessel.
Can't eat shellfish.
So, yeah.
No.
There's all kinds
Bologna,
of stuff.
like lunch meat.
If you do eat tuna, you can only eat tuna once every few weeks or twice every few
Hot
weeks.
dogs have to be nitrate free.
You can't eat Subway. You cannot eat Subway
Yeah.
because you can't have cold cuts, and
Mm-hmm.
that
Well, that's the nitrates.
pissed
The
me
nitrates
off.
in the cold cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that pissed me off so bad.
Yeah.
Even if I was telling my husband, I was like, I'm gonna get one that's toasted, it's heated. He was like, you can't have it, and I'm like,
Get the meatball sub. Just
I literally went and got all these veggies on my sub, and it didn't hit. But now looking back, and she was on all sorts of stuff.
22 medications, I believe, at the time. Yeah.
What was his-
when she was
Had to have
pregnant.
done
Was
a little something.
Well, and that's something they really kind of got into on the show.
Yes.
She took over 1,000 pills while she was pregnant with him.
during the duration of 9 months. I want to say it was I think it was 22 a day.
Yeah, 22 pills a day. Not
over the course of 9 months.
course of
That's,
9 months.
that's
That's
a lot of fucking
for
pills.
anybody who's not pregnant.
Even if
Right?
you're taking vitamins, you shouldn't be taking 22 pills a day.
Right. And we know that now. But
Well, and what era?
we know that then?
This was, he was born when 65-ish?
65.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So at that era, that was right when pharmaceuticals were really starting to, they were starting to just really figure out the science of it.
Well, that was
right.
that's
and they had a pill for everything
Well,
back
that's
then.
Oh yeah,
That's the
I mean,
Don-
they still do. But
That's the Don Draper age.
they have a pill for your pill.
That's the Don Draper age, where cigarette companies are. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's healthy. You should do
it's
it.
healthy. Nicotine helps you
Well,
focus.
65, they had actually just started. The federal government had just a few years ago had stepped in and said you can't
Right,
use
but-
medical testimonies and.
But that's
like,
that's where the whole Mad Men story got involved.
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
they're putting a spin on? No,
Yeah,
it's fine.
started about 1960, 1961.
Yeah.
So you're right in the right era. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So, like I said, just kind of going back to some of the facts of the case is, unfortunately, it was never proven that he, like I said, he was deemed competent to stand trial, and I don't necessarily agree that was really the case.
I think so. I think it was. I'm gonna disagree with that. As I've said, I see a lot of parallels between my own personality, the way that his personality was portrayed. I've listened
Sure.
to some of the Dahmer tapes, heard the way that he speaks, and I feel like if questioned by law enforcement, or in the past when I've been questioned by law enforcement on certain things, I feel like that's how I have really played off the situation. So I think that he was 100% sane in the fact he knew what he was doing. Now, I can't say that the reasoning that he internalized it wasn't insane,
Right.
because no normal person is going to do what he did.
Exactly. And
well,
Agreed.
go ahead.
I would absolutely say I don't think he was insane, and where
Right.
that line between insane and having some emotional problems, where
I was
that
just
line
about to
is,
say,
I don't know.
Stating that you're competent to stand trial
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't mental issues going on.
Yeah.
Well, and
And
the-
which one plays more to the other is really the question.
Well,
here.
the horrible result or example to bring this back to is there was an Eminem song where he said, "Am I crazy insane or am I insane crazy?"
Right.
Now, which one was he?
yeah, and I think the obviously I'm not a lawyer, but I think the differentiation they make between mentally competent to stand trial
Right.
and insane is, did you make the decision to do this?
Yeah.
Was there a cognitive decision to kill this person
Right.
and dispose of the body versus
The devil made me do it.
or the voices in my head
Head,
made me
yeah.
do it, and I don't think he classified in any of those.
Exactly. And I think that we run into this a lot, unfortunately, because let's face it, I mean, some of the things that we cover are just like beyond any of our comprehension of, how you might interact with a human being. But let's just face it, there has to be a medical term. If we're going to deem somebody, incompetent to stand trial because of insanity, then there has to be a medical term that differentiates those people. They often use, well, he did A, B, and C to hide himself from getting caught. Okay, if he is taking those steps, he's mentally competent because he knew what he was doing
There's
was
a
wrong.
thought process there. He's
Exactly.
working through it.
Yeah. And so, you see those a lot with a lot of the cases, and he absolutely falls into that realm. So, yes, I do agree that he knew what he was doing was wrong. So I'm not going to sit there and say like he didn't know. And he even talks about trying to stop.
Well, and like I watched a little bit of the Dahmer tapes.
I love that
That's one of the
documentary.
things he talks about
Because you hear
and-
him.
Yeah, and they even asked him like talking about the insanity plea. Like he said no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
From my understanding,
Absolutely.
He's like I did it. I'm guilty.
Right.
Like
Yep.
I think the end question though that I'm trying to point out is that if he had gotten the medical assistance that he needed early on, I don't think that his victim list would have ended up being 17.
Well, and
Yeah.
like when his
Period, point
dad
blank.
sent the letter in to put him in the mental institution, and they
or to even have him evaluated. I think that was
Right.
all he was asking, was to have an evaluation done in prison.
right. But he went in and he was like, "Oh, did you talk to a therapist? Did you talk to a psychiatrist? Did you?" He's like, "Nope, they really just left you alone." And
That doesn't help anybody.
that was
No.
not what his dad was trying to get for him. And so right there, they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And that was when he was in prison for
first time.
the sexual assault, quote unquote, I think, or
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah, it was
or
the sexual assault, the
molestation,
molestation. But like I said, I think that the point is, if he had gotten, like the real question is if he had gotten the mental help that he needed early on, would this have happened? We can't answer that. We don't
No,
know
obviously.
the right answer. One of the things that I find very interesting about him, same goes with Ed Kemper, is once they get caught, they'll tell you everything. He actually refers to getting caught as a relief because he had been fighting against this whole time. And so, yes, I mean, you can see in him that he knew that what he was doing was wrong. But as Candy had stated, so many different times, there was an emotional connection to this. He wasn't just killing because he enjoyed it. In fact, he says very frequently that the killing part was just a means to an end. He didn't actually enjoy that part.
Well, wasn't the weird one about Gacy that he never would admit that he did it?
No, Gacy never.
He would not.
Not at all. No. Have you guys listened to that episode?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You haven't?
No.
What I'm wondering about that is, so Gacy did the gimmick where he dressed up like a clown, right?
Yes.
Is if they would have interrogated him, this is a question I've had in the back of my mind. If they would have allowed him to dress up as the clown and did that same interrogation, would the clown have admitted it? Was it a? I know the name is not multiple personality disorder anymore.
He was diagnosed, though, wasn't he?
dissociative personality.
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
But if they would have allowed him to become, that dark character,
put on that persona,
and interrogated him, would they have gotten the same answers to their interrogation questions? Would he have
Probably
admitted
not.
all of it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Gacy was a rough case for us, not only because Candy hates clowns, but
I
just
told her I was not doing it.
yeah. So I had to take that one. I had to
was
take that
not
one for the
doing
team.
it. But I will say I have done some pretty dark ones. But no, I was not doing Gacy. Absolutely not.
That is a strange, and it's brought up in the series Gacy. It was around the same time frame, along with like I said, our Ed Gein. Actually just posted on Monday in the future. So it's going to post on the 24th.
Well, not so. That'll post before technically this episode comes
Yes,
out.
it will, which is why I'm trying to refer it to
Yeah.
it in the past. But for us, it hasn't actually posted yet. But it will be, Ed Gein will be going live.
So today's date is October 31st. If you haven't listened to the Ed Gein episode,
Go
Please
listen
go
to
and
real
check it
quick.
out.
it came out on October 24th.
Yes.
Sips of Crime.
Sips of Crime.
You know the deal.
You can find it. But Ed Gein and Gacy are both referenced in the Netflix documentary.
Yeah, that's one thing I've also read is that Dahmer was supposed to be a one and done, and
Yeah.
now they've picked it up.
Yes.
And it's going to be a childhood-focused docudrama. Mm-hmm. And
Really?
And Gacy, Ed Gein, they're going to, Son of Sam, they're going to start.
They're just jumping on the bandwagon, huh?
Oh, of course.
They see-
I mean, that's great for you
anything
guys.
makes-
I mean,
Oh, yeah. But
you follow the
It
money,
really isn't.
right?
It really isn't,
But
though,
are they going to
because
focus on
What-
the victims, or are they going to focus?
Well,
on
but it's
They're
going
gonna-
to generate interest.
they're gonna
in the
over-dramatize.
it will.
Yeah.
Yes, but like we were saying, we don't like that because our whole podcast is based on facts, and these docuseries, these what did you call it earlier? Docudramas really elaborate on some of the things. So one of the things that I wanted to point out that was, very dramatized is Glenda. So
That's the neighbor, right? Yeah. Okay.
as is told in the Netflix series. So Glenda was a real person.
Yep.
And she is the one who made the 911 call for the 14-year-old boy
The
who was
first-
found.
Yeah, I
first
think they played
zombie.
the tapes of it, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the 14-year-old boy was the first zombie. The failed attempt with acid in the temporal lobe.
In the brain, yeah. So unfortunately, Jeffrey was trying to figure out a way to keep these people alive because,
And
as I
submissive.
stated, yes, and submissive. So one of the interesting things about Dahmer, and he's very upfront about this, is that, like I said, again, the killing wasn't the fun part for him. He didn't enjoy that process.
He
it was
literally
just a mean.
didn't want people to leave.
Yeah, he didn't want people to leave. He also didn't want them to interact. He literally wanted somebody who would stick around for his pleasure, so that he could do whatever he wanted on his own time. Which is why he started that whole process with the mannequin.
That's one question I
Okay.
had. Is if his grandmother had never found and got rid of that mannequin,
Would this have happened?
would this even be a story right now? Would he have ever got caught? Would there have been only the 2 victims prior and then just the mannequin?
Yeah. Because the first victim,
I don't know. I mean, if you really think about it, though, the mannequin's only going to give him, technically, from the film, it's only going to give him so much. Like, he can cuddle it,
yep.
but he wanted more.
And he did
He did.
frequently.
But he wanted more than that.
He enjoyed the warmth,
Well, that
which is
mannequin
why he
probably
wanted
was
these
not
people to
warm.
stay alive.
Well, that's one thing with the Discovery ID documentary that I watched is he never was about the sex. He didn't want the top or the bottom, however you want to call it.
Exactly. Yeah. He stated that he didn't want to submit to that, like,
right.
general, guy on guy relationship.
Right. So the mannequin gave him everything he really needed.
Except for the beating heart.
Except for the beating heart.
Yeah, the mannequin was cold. And, like I said, and it's one of the reasons that he didn't keep the bodies around very long. So, like I said, he stated that he wanted a submissive partner. But nobody would be willing to give that to him. So, like you said, if the grandma hadn't found it, I don't know if that really would have still satisfied him. I think that he still would have continued seeking.
Escalated. 'Cause,
Yes.
yeah, it always escalates. in these
Absolutely.
kind of
I
cases,
do
yeah.
definitely think it would have escalated from there. I don't think that he would have just lived with this mannequin for the rest of his life and been okay.
See, nowadays they got the real dolls. He would have been great nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. If you
That she's out at the real dolls.
if you could just pump some
I need another
warm
beer on
water.
Look,
Just needs a warm heartbeat and he's good to go. We could have saved 17 lives.
Yeah.
well, I don't know. I mean, they would have had to put a heartbeat in the real doll.
Well, that's what I was saying. If you you would have to be pumping that doll with warm water to because he wanted to cuddle and
Maybe you could put it in the microwave. The that you warm up.
a microwave
Like those rice bags.
Blow up doll.
Yeah.
Just put it in the microwave, warm it up. Let's cuddle.
So anyway, going back to the whole portion of what we were talking about, yes, this was his first attempt to make a zombie is when Glenda comes into the situation. He did drill a hole in this young man's head and introduce several different fluids attempting to submit him but keep him alive. This boy escaped and was found by Glenda and I believe her daughter on this side of the street, roaming about. He was completely naked. Glenda was the one that made the 911 call. And this was a detrimental portion of Dahmer's story because as, is very truly depicted in the series, is she calls 911, the police show up. They are very thrown off by this whole, boyfriend, quote unquote, situation that they describe it as. And they take this boy back to Dahmer's house. They take him and put him back into his apartment.
You see,
That's what kills
was the police department right in that situation?
No.
No, but if you take into account it was, 1985,
That was late 80s.
86, something like that. The AIDS epidemic, it was just getting ramped up. And
Absolutely.
everybody was terrified of it because nobody knew what transmitted AIDS. They thought if you touched a gay guy, if you shook his hand, you could get AIDS from
Toilet
it.
seats.
Legitimately, people thought that's
Yeah.
the way it was. Nobody knew how it was transmitted. They were all terrified of it. It was this huge epidemic that there was no cure for. And it was 100% fatality.
Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of like when, in 2020, when everybody's wearing masks.
Right. I was making those parallels in my head. I was making those parallels in my head.
We're not
trust
getting
me.
started on that.
I'm just saying that the fear was more than what was needed.
Well, but no, those officers were terrified because they immediately identified that these two individuals were reported as homosexual, and there's this epidemic that's going on in our society that is touted by the media and everybody else, all the sources that you normally turn to that were trustworthy at the time. Now they're not, but at the time they were. And they all said that homosexuals were passing this and they didn't know how. It could be saliva, it could be handshakes, it could be intercourse, it could be, toilet seats. It could be all these different things. There was rumors that it was flowing around that it was started by somebody having sex with a monkey.
Yes, yeah.
Like the rumors were insane. And I remember all this. So those police officers, if you take a step back and in their shoes, they were terrified.
Okay.
They were terrified to touch those guys.
Why were they joking
Agreed.
about it then?
But
Well, I mean, it's
exactly.
And
Were
then,
they? No. I mean, seriously,
There were
let's,
No,
let's bring it up. I
opportunities.
mean, let's talk about
there
it.
were
Because-
so many opportunities that the cops could have stopped him.
Absolutely.
And they did not.
I don't
Yeah.
dispute
So,
that
I mean,
at any time. But in that particular situation,
Were they
those
terrified,
officers,
or
those officers
did they
weren't
just
Or was
equipped.
it
not
a
care?
joke?
They weren't equipped to handle that situation.
No, I completely agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
They were not equipped. They weren't ready. They, unfortunately, though, they took the easy route.
Oh yeah.
It was
Well, and how is any other, even now, male cop to a gay couple?
Yeah, because
I mean, it's
your
still-
typical male cop is that domineering, that
Right.
that toxic masculine
Alpha
guy,
male,
alpha
yeah.
male. Yes, and they are looking at this gay couple like less than. Yeah, I don't want
no.
anything to do with that. Let's just get this over with. We don't have anything to do
Well,
here.
as a society, we don't have the stigmas on homosexuality that we used to.
That's
I
very true, yeah.
remember 1991, and I remember the 80s, and I
Yes.
remember how homophobic it was.
thank God for Magic
Absolutely.
Johnson to bring us out of all that shit, man. Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares about AIDS now. It's
Yeah,
like
if you got enough
Magic
money,
beat it.
if you got enough money, there's
Yeah.
a cure.
Well, it's not a death sentence anymore
Not a death
either.
sentence anymore, but
Well,
I get it.
He
but
was the first way to pay his way out of it, though.
My point is, though, I think that I mean, I agree with you to some degree on it, where it yes, they, really didn't want anything to do with this because of those reasons, but it was also looked at as a joke.
I mean, was it right? No, but
No.
I don't think we can automatically condemn the police officers
No.
because
I think,
of the situation they were.
But I think we
yeah.
can because of what happened afterwards when they were making the calls to the Asian kid's family, basically trying to run them out of the neighborhood because
Yeah.
my union got me out of it, and it's
Yeah.
a new police chief. And
It was
there's too
disgusting.
That's the thing that I think is a huge problem.
See, I don't think they talked about that in the.
They didn't.
Okay.
They didn't.
See, I didn't know.
And
that.
I don't know how the inconsistencies are. Is Netflix trying to paint the police in the bad light?
Right.
Or
probably.
Or is it? But this shit happens all the time, right? There's
Sure.
too many. There's too many politics and red tape in civics, organizations that are designed to help the public, but they can't. They're not equipped. They don't have the training.
Right.
And-
Absolutely.
But you got these two dickheads, as the docudrama paints, as are trying to make these phone calls to get rid of this family out of the neighborhood.
yeah.
Another,
Even though both of their children were victimized by this person.
Right.
right.
I mean, like I said, so it just goes back to a situation where, and one of the things that we struggle with a lot on this podcast, because we run into it a lot, is, we support, I mean, you guys talk about being true blood Americans. We are too. Absolutely 100%. And, I mean, in my own personal business, we give, first responder discounts to in my wedding business. We, I mean, that is something that we support. And I know personally, police and people who are in that position. But unfortunately, in the cases that we cover, a lot of the times it's botched by the police.
Well, there's also
So we run into that a lot where we're questioning, like, did they do the right thing? Were they trying to do the right thing?
Well, the unions, as much as they're designed to help the worker, they a lot of times become
obsolete in 1932, but that's just me.
Well, so they become there are a couple of places where they're still needed, which is like the railroad, the truckers, the police union. Not so much, because you wind up with these guys that were bullied in high school that go and then take that out on everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's a good old boy system.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can't say. I don't know enough of the facts to know whether that's actually what happened or is Netflix glorifying the other side of you got shitty cops out there.
You see, but I look at the police force from a completely different light. I look at the police force, and even at this time, like mid 80s, it would have been the same thing. A majority of our police force are veterans. A majority of our police force are veterans that went right out of high school into the military.
Yep.
They didn't score high enough on their ASVAB to get one of the technical jobs, something that was, IT or support. Or
Intel.
So these guys, they got given a rifle and they got sent into the desert.
Yeah.
And that was the only job they qualified for. And they got home, and the only thing they know how to do is hold a gun and shoot people.
Yeah.
So what are you going to go do after that? You're going to go become a cop.
Yep.
So you now have somebody that is a few years out of the military that has just done several tours or several deployments in Iraq.
And in that mindset.
In that mindset, they're looking for the camaraderie that they had in the military. They're looking for that esprit de corps. They're looking for something to be a part of because that's what they were.
Yep, that brotherhood.
And as soon as they got out, they were lost because now they're in the civilian world after they just spent numerous years in a combat zone with their buddies dying in their arms. And now these guys are dropped back into low income housing. And
I was just about to say, the people that they're dealing with are now not their brothers.
No,
they're
not. And they're very similar to the kind of individuals that they dealt with overseas, where there's a lot of deception. They don't know who the good guys are. They don't know who the bad guys are. Right. They don't know who the drug dealer is or who the pimp is or who's going to try to shoot them in the back while they're sitting at the restaurant just trying to have lunch.
Right.
Because that shit happens.
Absolutely.
So I think so much of our police force is just completely pigeonholed into this alpha male. And I don't mean to be, but they're pigeonholed into this when these are guys that just have mental health issues. These are guys that were sent off to war and they have PTSD, and our government isn't standing behind them and helping them do this.
No,
because the VA is complete bullshit.
It is.
Sorry, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. God, I went on a rip there.
No, I definitely completely agree with you because again, I have, people who are in, police force right now that I know personally. And I don't know what it's like for my husband to wake up in the morning and to leave and for me to not know if he's coming home. And I'm not going to sit there and say that, we talk all day long, all these media posts and things like that. And I mean, the news and social media have legitimately killed our society, I would just like to point out. But they are reporting on these people who, another unarmed black man was shot by a white police officer. Okay, well, I'm a woman in this day and age, and I carry. I'm sorry.
You should.
I do. And I am sorry, but if you are threatening me and I shoot you, I'm not going to get that same media coverage.
No,
I am going to be looked at as I was defending myself.
That ain't
But these police officers don't know if they're coming home or not. And when they're put in a position where they don't know what the threat is, they're going to protect themselves because they have kids at home. I'm sorry, but if you run from the police,
God, I love you, Michelle.
I can get into so much with this, and I don't mean to go on this tangent, but and I'm not going to sit here and say that the whole George Floyd thing was he tried to run. He was put in handcuffs.
Died of a fentanyl overdose. Put
in a police car. He was legally detained with no force. Okay, they were able to legally detain him and put him in the back of a cop car. He did not get assaulted until he tried to get out of the cop car.
It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
What are the police
Play
supposed
stupid games, win stupid prizes. I think that's.
But the police are being railroaded for it.
What he did, and hopefully I can kind of squash his beak.
I think I know exactly.
He fucked around a little too much, and then he found out.
There's a directly proportionate.
Going somewhere with this.
No, there's a graph. I should have it on here, but
God, I wish you could pull it up.
But if I can pull it,
you've got to overlay it.
The more you fuck around, the more you find out.
I said that to my husband this morning.
Did you?
No, I not. I was wearing my shirt.
General term. In our households.
Took our 2-year-old to daycare, and I was already pissy because I hadn't had coffee. He hadn't got up and helped all week, which it's okay. It is what it is. We have those weeks.
That's why you have wine, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I get up to get coffee. I mean, because I'm working from home, and he's like, "Oh, you got your crime shirt on," and I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "You gonna do crime today?" I was like, I might commit.
You're gonna do some crime
Right now. Bring it on, motherfucker.
He just looked at me and he was like, "Do you need some coffee?" And I was like, "Fucking making." Like,
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna. The cup ain't gonna fill itself, motherfucker.
That is one thing I've noticed with Wifey Sauce is the more coffee that she has in her system, the more I can fuck around and not find out.
Yes. Yes.
Give us the
And I
coffee.
hadn't even
we'll
had
be fine.
one sip yet. And he's like, "You're wearing a crime shirt." And I'm like, fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
I'm going to commit one today. Like, you are pushing my fucking button.
I like it.
Like I said,
It's 7:15 in the morning.
I'll just put the video in. Yeah.
this is going such far off a tangent of Dahmer, but my point is, like I
What
said,
happens.
I'm not going to railroad our police officers.
You're just gonna pour for you and just fuck
Right, I'm sorry. I
everybody
mean, I
else?
like some more.
No, I've got
You've
some.
still got some.
No,
Yeah.
I've got
I'll
some.
try.
So we're,
Wine me,
we're
bitch.
switching wines. It's clean slate is
You
what
can
it's
give me
called.
about half that.
Which we're clearly not on a
I'll take
clean
his share.
slate. What's it say, Michelle? Go ahead for
Oh,
the
I get
first
to do
time.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
The thin slate stones of our vineyards in the Mosul River Valley.
Mosul.
Mosul.
Mosul?
Yeah, Mosul. Iraq. It's from Iraq.
Mosul.
Yeah. It's Iraqi wine. Spit it out now.
Crafting a Riesling of exquisite balance. So
Sorry.
precious
Haji can
are
make
these
pretty good wine.
stones. So precious are these stones that those which slip into the river are carefully carried back up the treacherous steep vineyards.
I'm going to stop you right there.
You're turning me on here.
This could
You
be
described intercourse.
this could be a good pickleback. I swear I'm drinking pickle juice right now.
This is too much. I can't.
What does it say?
That's like the best description ever.
As darkness falls around beyond the land, the midnight hour is close at hand.
It really is like.
We had a wine that was called the
precious.
Witching Hour.
Nice.
And it said just that on the back of it, and it was amazing.
You know what
So
that's
is
from?
it was
that
good
is-
wine, too.
You know what
So
that's
is that
from,
wine or is that like one of the chick porn books?
Reflecting and retaining heat.
It's 50
slate
Shades of
is
Chardonnay.
It's a Riesling, though.
Reflecting and retaining heat, the slate is essential to ripening grapes in this cool climate, developing the wine's fresh peach, crisp lime, and subtle mineral flavors.
It's real crisp.
Okay.
It's 10.5%.
Woo!
Y'all brought liquor.
Okay.
I want y'all to have like a ratchet night where you're like, we got Boone's Farm,
We can.
Little
Oh my
MD
God,
2020.
you remember
Cisco.
Like first, like
Many
what is it?
Chevets.
Buying something that we used to drink. It was that purple wine, bottom shelf at the grocery store.
It came with the jug and the with the little loop handle thing.
They do still have those.
Okay,
But no, not that one.
I'm thinking of Ernest and Julio
That
Gallo.
sounds like-
Probably on your Instagram or my Instagram.
That sounds like Boone's Farm.
No, it's not Boone's Farm. It's Vine something. It was purple. Super, super sweet.
Vineyard and Vine? No, that's a clothing brand at like Target or something.
I'll pull it up later.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so back to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Back to Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay, so yeah, the police fucked that up. My point is that is where Glenda comes into play. Glenda was not actually his neighbor.
Okay.
Really?
She did not live in the building. No.
Was she just a nosy ass bitch from across
No,
the street?
her daughter lived nearby, and she lived in an adjacent building in the neighborhood.
So they were just like
So she was a
outside
nosy
smoking.
ass
They
bitch
were
from down the
literally
street.
walking around when they found this 14-year-old boy.
Okay.
Okay, now, one of the things that is so heavily portrayed in this series that drives me nuts is her relationship with that vent.
That and
It is a very emotionally, engaged
Well, that-
relationship.
that
Oh, yeah.
and you roll
They almost made that vent another character.
it
right.
was a character
But you-
all in itself.
But you roll forward the hotel meeting with the Reverend Jessa Jackson.
Glenda Cleveland was an actual person, but she didn't live in the building. And the fact that was portrayed in that Netflix series drove me nuts.
Well,
Now,
and even her relationship with the building, because later on when she went to the civics department
Yes.
and was like, why is this park not being built?
it's all bullshit.
You see, what I really want to
It's
know
all drama.
is okay. We've got a guy who eats people and murders them in his apartment in in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
It wasn't
if you hadn't have
Milwaukee.
asked me. I
Good
could've
job,
told
y'all.
you. Yeah. No, seriously.
There was
No,
some-
but
there was-
okay.
Hold, please.
Yeah, there's some
Hold,
murders.
please.
There was some murders in lacrosse.
We normally
but
insert hold
there
music
was,
here
I
and
don't
we
think,
look it
I
up.
don't think the
Was it
apartment.
in Minnesota somewhere?
they keep
No, it
going.
was Wisconsin.
It was
Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, it
Was
might
it
have been
Milwaukee?
It might have been Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's.
Hold, please.
Now we've got to do a fact check. But basically, my point is,
please, and then we pause it for a minute,
And then we insert hold music here.
Yeah, and then we find out what we're trying to say, and then we come back.
I'm just gonna play with the bat.
Do you have Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Internet is not working.
yeah. The 4G is horrible down here.
Milwaukee. Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
So
I wish somebody had said that before.
Yeah.
Which is that's
Milwaukee,
another thing that I find is
Wisconsin.
inconsistency is he was drinking Budweiser when he could have been drinking Old Milwaukee's Best.
He should have been drinking Milwaukee's Best. Yeah.
Okay.
But God damn it, there was a point I was making with all that, and I
Glenda. She's not a real neighbor.
Okay, so they are making a movie or a mini series about actual shit that happened within most of the people that are watching it their lifetime.
Right.
And they can very easily pull up news clips and Wikipedias and they can fact check.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just make it factual? I
'Cause
mean,
people
this
are
guy.
lazy.
It's
'Cause
what
people are
drives me
lazy.
nuts.
Well, no, this guy like
No,
murdered.
it sounds
you didn't
better.
need to elaborate on this.
Yeah.
This was a great
No, why
story
didn't
on
you
its
reach
own.
out to the family and ask them?
Yeah.
Well,
and we're
'cause-
gonna get
well-
we're gonna get into that here.
Well, and that's what I'm hearing.
A
Is that
little
like the
bit.
families, like they're done. They just
They
they
are
don't
so
want to deal
mad.
with this shit anymore.
And we're going to talk about it. But here's the thing. He did have actual neighbors, though. Here's what kills me. He had actual neighbors, okay? Paula and Vernal Bass. They actually didn't live next to him.
He was on the-
They lived across the street.
He was on the Discovery ID series.
Yes.
Okay.
They speak immensely to reporters about what was going on. Pamela specifically remembers having to put towels
Over the vents.
to
Oh,
her
'cause of the
door
smell?
because of the smell. Now,
Wow.
they actually loved Jeff.
They said that in the Discovery
Because he
ID.
They
was
had
polite
no
and
problems
peaceful
with
and-
him.
Best
Yeah.
neighbor.
They never suspected anything, and they were absolutely astounded when police showed up.
He brought them food. He
Yes.
would
See,
go
why
eat
didn't
at
they
their
put
house.
that in the
Yes.
documentary?
So
the
so
sandwich,
Orwell.
the sandwich in the documentary actually happened, except it was given to Paula,
Right.
Pamela.
Oh wow.
do
Yes.
we know?
She
like,
does not
did
know
we
if
ever
this
get-
was human or
Yeah,
not.
that's a curious. I mean, it's inferred, but it's like, was that really people?
There is never
Was,
any-
was that a long pig
I-
pork sandwich?
I don't think it was. I think it had drugs in it, and he was trying to get
Oh, I
her.
can see
But
that.
she was an old woman. She doesn't
talked
fit any of the-
She wasn't old. They were. Yeah,
I,
they were
her name was
middle-aged.
Glenda. I just
She's
assumed.
not. She's not even old. She's not even old in the Discovery ID. She looks in her 20s still. She's like 52 or
But
something.
if she
So
knows
okay,
something's
so the
going
folks
on, he's
across
trying to get rid of her.
these
Yeah.
people across the street, what was their ethnicity?
They were black.
Okay.
Because
He was
the
one.
whole- that
He was
whole
the only
apartment
white boy
complex.
in. He was
Well,
the only
yeah,
white boy in
that's
that
what I
complex.
thought.
Yeah, and
I'm
they
trying to-
speculate a lot on why he chose that area, and he says it was because what he could afford.
Low
but
income.
It was low income.
I mean, it
But
probably was cheap.
it was absolutely, and a lot. Unfortunately, the black community does take offense to this situation because they claim to be targeted, and a lot of his victims were African American. But that he says that had nothing to do with it,
But
and
he
I truly
does
believe that.
He does specify that he liked the darker skin,
Yep.
the athletic build, and that was his
But
type of person.
some of
Is
his
that because
victims
their
were.
buttholes were tighter when they're dead?
I don't know. I've never messed with anybody's butthole.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
Do we really want to get
absolutely.
into this
don't.
conversation? I mean,
Moving on.
careful, Michelle.
Yeah. A lot of buttholes over here.
Pamela and Vernal. I mean, like I said, they lived.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
They-
the Checkmate with Bishop and Knight has a whole episode about anal sex.
Yeah. Sex mate.
Yeah.
I listened. I heard.
Did you take notes?
I did not.
Sorry, I had to go there.
I'll send you screenshots. It's okay.
If I need to brush up on it, I'll just listen again.
You're welcome, Will.
It's on Michelle's Only Feet. I mean, never mind.
Only feet. It's Feet Finder, Chris.
Feet
it's
Finder,
Feet Finder. Damn it.
And now she's
mean, if it's
drinking
about
all the
anal-
wine.
If it's about anal, I would think it'd be like
Have such sights to show you.
Okay,
We did warn you.
back to the
reeling it
Did
back
warn
in.
you.
you should be yourself, because if you guys want to listen,
This is what you're gonna get.
Yeah, welcome to the shit show.
Okay, so anyway, like I said, going back to it is, I mean, the neighbors who actually were willing to talk to people, who have talked to the press, I mean, they actually liked him. They had no problem with him whatsoever.
But they were totally omitted from the Netflix.
Yeah, why
Absolutely.
did they pick this person that
That's
didn't
what
live in the
I-
building, made up a story for
Yeah,
her?
Well, you-
created this vent as a character all on
Yeah.
itself.
Why not just put towels under the door like they
Right,
said?
show what really happened, because this is what people are consuming.
You can't have a series called Monster when he's a nice guy. He's Ned Flanders, basically. He's the Wisconsin Ned Flanders. It's like I told you in the last promo we shot for this episode. If somebody with a Wisconsin accent comes at me and be like, "Hey, I just want to take a couple pictures,"
Watch a movie.
I'm probably gonna let you take a couple pictures there, bud. Your aunt's name's Suze. You know a couple Pams out there. We're gonna go and
to your
do
Aunt
it.
Bob.
Barb? Yeah, Barb. Yeah, cool. You might even know Red Foreman and Kitty. I don't know.
Yeah, and the Netflix series really shows Glenda, who is the supposed neighbor, calling the police over and over and over again.
She was the
And
good witch.
that just wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. She called. She did actually make that 911 call when she found the 14-year-old boy.
But she wasn't a neighbor.
She wasn't a neighbor. She didn't live in the building. She literally lived in a building adjacent to the apartment complex.
Well, her daughter did, right?
if I
Her
was-
daughter
did.
lived in the area. I wasn't able to determine whether or not her
Exactly
daughter
where.
lived
Okay.
in the building with Jeffrey.
If I was
That whole
a
thing
judge, I
was-
would say inadmissible hearsay.
So, I mean, really, the only connection that Glenda has to this entire story is that
her daughter.
one 911 call.
But they made it.
They made it as she's been there the whole time, and that wasn't the case.
Well, that's
were they trying to
I think
kind of highlight the race agenda?
I think they were trying to go woke.
I think
That's kind of what it seems like.
I think it was just a.
You
like
gotta-
I said,
you gotta strong-
they
you gotta-
saw this great opportunity to create this
Drama.
This
character who had this relationship with this vent that
You see, why
connected
couldn't
her
you-
to that apartment.
Why couldn't you do the same thing with the people that were
Pamela.
actually there and their door and the crack under the door?
Yes.
Like, I mean, they could have done the exact same thing, but like, I almost feel like it was pandering.
It was absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous, and that's one of the reasons that I hate episodes like this.
See, that's the problem. I like this show. Now you made me hate it, Michelle.
I'm sorry. I'm so dialed
I
into
very
the
much-
facts.
So I'm going to go back to like being based. So when I first got into podcast, when I got my first, iPod podcast,
I remember
where
this.
did those come from? The iPod. The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. I feel like this is almost one of those type episodes where you have to literally, and I don't want to be put on my tinfoil hat, even though I have one, but you have to question everything. Mm-hmm. Like, not everything is factual. You're watching something on Netflix to entertain
To
you.
entertain, exactly.
Documentaries are not made to entertain you, okay?
No.
They're made to document the Terrys.
Well, and that's one of the problems I run into is like every time I see based on a true story or based on real life
Yeah.
events or get your fucking bat out of my face. Anytime I see that, the first thing I do is grab Google.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
like I'll be at the beginning of the movie, and I just did this. There was a movie I just recently watched called the Greatest Beer Run Ever, and it's based on a true story. And the first thing I did was started Google searching. Like the opening credits are coming up, and I see based on a true story. I start Google searching. I'm like, okay, how much of this is real and how much of this is bullshit?
Right.
In that particular case, most of it was pretty accurate.
Well, and I watched the Confessions documentary.
The
before-
Dahmer tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confessions of a Serial Killer. Yeah.
Okay.
Before I watched Monster.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you actually
Yes.
dug into that,
That probably put you
before.
off a bit.
It might have, but the Monster was all over the place for me because I had watched that first.
Well,
It
the
was all
time
over
jumps.
place.
The time jumps kind of
Yes.
killed me in the
Yeah.
first
Oh, I
5
hated
episodes.
that.
You couldn't keep track of
It literally
it.
starts with Tracy, and that was his last
Yes.
victim.
Yeah.
That threw me off
And then it
completely.
back-
I mean, it was
Fuck.
almost like House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Characters
we-
getting older, and Jeffrey Dahmer's is the same age. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, we know we don't
Yeah.
need to go on that.
So Will and I actually started watching it together, like
Yeah.
as a as a couple, and we and he was like, oh, okay. He was like, so his first kill was 1991. And I was like, no, but like that's the time jumps in that documentary.
I feel like they should have done
ridiculous.
it timeline.
I am a chronological person. I want things done in a chronological order, and that's the only way it makes sense to me. Like jumping, I hate books that do that too, where you're jumping back and forth.
Oh, so Pulp Fiction fucked you up completely.
I cannot handle it. I
Not
just
when you have like two characters. Like
Yeah.
I've read multiple books that are like from this character, and then the next chapter's this character, and they're not intertwined, and it's all jacked up.
Yeah. And so, like I said, stuff like that really messes with me. And that was one of the things that I hated about this documentary was the fact that it was not done in a chronological order. Because, again, I think that it just takes away from the victims. It takes away from the actual storyline. If you're not going to tell it how it actually happened, again, you're just throwing things in for dramatic effect.
I do have one question before you go into that, Chris. If you guys arrived tonight, and I would be like, "Hey, we can't do the podcast, but just come on in. I just want to take a few pictures."
Jesus Christ.
You would have gotten shot.
I'd be like,
Because she carries.
Michelle.
She's told us
Wait,
that.
so, because I hadn't met y'all yet. I'd have been like, the fuck, I'm out of here. Bye, Michelle.
You wouldn't have fought with me?
I really
No,
should
I would
have.
have said, get back in the fucking car. We got to go.
I really
She'd have had your back. The way back.
But looking back on it, I really should have answered the door that way. But come on in. I just want to take a few.
I would have just
pictures.
looked at Michelle like, what the
Yeah, we're
fuck?
fucking out of here.
Yeah.
I did tell her about, I was watching TikTok today, and this husband and wife, she was getting out of the shower with her towel on, and he's over here all of a sudden with his camera, and he's like, relax, I just want to take a few pictures.
Oh, wow.
And she's like in her towel out of the shower, and it was really funny.
See, I mean, this is a complete off topic, but it reminds me it was a TikTok I saw recently, and it was this wife comes downstairs, and she's all dressed to the nines, like she's ready to go out, and she walks up to her husband who's sitting on the couch like it's just an average Joe, and she's like, "How do I look?" He's like, "Oh, you look great, honey." It's like, she's like, "Are you ready to? Are you going to be ready to go in like 10 minutes? We got to go soon." He's like, "Yeah, I'll be ready. Sure, totally." Runs upstairs, comes down in a pair of khakis and a button down. He's like, "All right, got his keys." He's like, "Cool, where are we going?" She's like, "You have the address, right?" He's like, "No, can you send me the address? Because I don't know exactly where it is." She's like, "Do you know how long it'll get here?" He's like, "I think it'll 25 minutes." She's like, "Do you really think it'll be that long?" She had nowhere to go. There was no event. There wasn't a fucking thing going on. This bitch comes down and fucks with him, and she's like, "Are you ready to go, honey?" And this poor bastard just, "Yeah, okay. I don't want to get in trouble. I was in trouble yesterday, and I don't want to be in trouble today." She Jedi mind fucked the shit out of him.
That's hilarious.
And Will, if she tries to do that to you, you've been warned.
Oh, Lord.
I already don't like his wife. But I can be ready to go in 10 minutes, like suit.
Oh, yeah.
Polished shoes, head to toe.
No, guys can be ready to go to the fucking moon in 30 minutes.
I was just about to say,
All
do
I
you
have
guys
to-
realize what advantage you guys have?
Yeah, all I
with
have
that?
to-
Because
all I
we
have
were
to-
just talking about it before we came over here. Like, we had to schedule when we were going to wash our hair.
No, I literally have a bag in my...
because of this podcast, because you told me that we were videoing.
I might
I have a
hate my
bag.
life a little more after hearing that.
I have a bag in my truck right now. If I needed to go to the other side of the country, I'm good.
You'd be good to go.
I'm good.
Really?
I don't even have... Yeah, I'm ready to go.
I would have to print out a
You just need to
PDF.
piece the fuck out.
Yeah.
You're ready
You
to
never
go.
know.
I would have
Deuces, bitches.
Underwear
You
lasts
do what
4
you gotta
days.
do.
You turn them inside
I
out.
have
2
to-
days
No,
on this
you
side, 2
just
days on
don't
that
wear
side.
it.
God, my dad used to say that shit.
I got a short dick and I got a zipper. I can't do that.
I would have to
Mine stays
print
down by
out-
knee. My knee. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I would have to print out a PDF of the schedule.
least that has
I
some
would need
shade
to
if
print
we're in the
out
desert.
a packing list and actually check mark it. I would have to get my packing cubes ready to go. I would need all of my suitcases and then my shoe bag. No.
So okay, when you guys are getting ready to go on vacation, does Will just like go hide in a closet till it's time to go?
No, I
you,
know.
you give him the keys and you're just like, okay, it's time. Like,
No,
No,
he goes and picks out his hats.
I make a list for him. There is a packing list. It's a PDF. I can send it to you. It's very helpful.
Don't
You
let
have
her
one
cheat
like
you.
pre-prepared
No,
for
she's
every
already
event.
sent it to me. She sent it to me. She's like, here, if you need this, and it might help. And I'm like, well,
I don't
this
have
is
enough
what-
luggage
So
for your
okay,
packing
so
list.
so do you have a packing list for like vacations and
Yes.
one for like Christmas with the family?
No,
No,
it's
it
and-
all
one
it all
list.
covers
Oh, it
everything,
all
but you
cov-
can just mark out the stuff you don't need.
We're talking about Michelle here.
God, you are so.
You guys. We're
I
talking
love
about
you to death, Michelle.
We're gonna take another break.
Back to some real shit, y'all.
Well, we've had a few sips of wine and a few sips of beer at this point,
And a few sips of crime.
and a few sips of crime, and a few sips of maybe wokeness when it comes to Netflix.
A little bit, yeah. I think they were a little overly woke.
It's possibility, you know. One
Maybe
thing.
maybe go back to sleep.
So one thing that I have seen is that Netflix is now going to charge you extra for other members on your profile who are not on your IP address.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So
That's
many
gonna get
people are-
expensive real
so many
quick.
people are
Oh my
getting called
God.
out.
But what if you watch it on your phone?
But another shameless
Like we
plug-
have multiple people sharing profiles on ours, so I mean it's
Everybody
like
does that.
Well, another shameless plug. Go listen to the Christmas episode of Checkmate with Bishop and Knight. It's about the Lawson family murders. Go listen to your third episode.
First.
It was your first? Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, I thought it was your third.
the
No,
pilot.
yeah,
I'm,
was our
I'm,
first.
I'm thinking the promos before that.
Yeah, we have our trailer, and then
yeah,
yeah.
so technically the third thing you uploaded, but your first actual episode.
was
about-
the Lawson family.
about-
And that was whenever you and I connected. Like,
Yes.
that was whenever we realized that both of us now had a podcast.
Yes. So, and that's one thing when I find out people are interested in doing a podcast or
Yeah.
whatever, I try to help them as much as possible.
Absolutely.
I'm overjoyed with what you guys are doing.
The podcast community, you guys, seriously, like, we have been met with absolutely nothing but
Support.
amazing support.
Yes.
Like, it's not a competition. And I think that's one thing that I love so much about this platform is that it gives people, I mean, not only the platform to speak their mind, say what they want to say without judgment, you know,
Yeah.
because we definitely have this, you know, we are like legit. I don't even want to put this like on air, but like we are legitimately waiting for our first hate mail because that makes
Oh, I've
us
been waiting.
official.
I think that's all we get.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like
Do you
that.
really?
No.
Oh,
We have gotten
I was like, that's so
nothing.
sad.
I mean, we should.
I've got mine from third party. It hasn't actually came to the inbox, but I've got my hate.
Yeah,
But, you
same
know,
here.
We have
Same here.
gotten nothing but love and support from everybody, and you know we have this whole mentality about just like, hey, we have the microphone. It's our show. Like we can put out with whatever
I like
we
the way that you pronounce mentality as mantality because
Yeah.
I feel like we can use mantality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, that we can. make
I'll
that
be
into
expecting the royalty.
Absolutely, you'll get the 13 cents a year.
something. So what's 0 divided by 4?
Yeah,
Right.
because we're literally bleeding money all the time.
Yeah,
We bleed
absolutely.
money.
Yeah.
But I mean, we even talked briefly at one point about like doing a whole episode on like starting a podcast, and
I've done that with Wild Bill on the
Yeah.
Checkmate with Bishop and Knight episode. One of our least listened to episodes.
Really?
Believe it or not.
because we have soaked in
Really?
everything that people have like been trying to get. Like we have like Twisted and Uncorked. Twisted and Uncorked was like our first like podcast friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So did they actually reach out to you and like?
yeah, they did. They found us and realized that what we do is kind of similar. We have
Are
a
they
similar
women
platform.
or men?
Yeah,
or,
they're
Yep,
okay.
they're two girls. One of them is in Canada, and the other one I believe lives in Georgia now. And they started like a podcast called Twisted and Uncorked, and they are a true crime based podcast with wine. And they reached out to us and they were like, "Hey, like you know, we see you and we think you guys are awesome, and we just wanted to touch base and see how you guys were doing." And they've been a huge staple. Like I mean, whenever we were talking about doing a Patreon, like they were the first ones we went to, and it's just like the community of podcasters and the true crime podcasts have just been like a huge support system, and we've been welcomed with open arms. Like there's
Maybe-
never too many.
Maybe that's the difference is with like guys like Wild Bill with the Two Undead Girls, is that I've kind of been the
hub.
hub of, hey,
Yeah.
this is kind of where you need to go. And Wild Bill,
Well, you were the first one to do it.
right. Wild Bill has taken so much of my advice and just soaked it up
And he's awesome. I mean, he really adds a lot to y'all's
he's
episode.
the best, grumpiest old man.
He really is.
Everybody loves a grumpy old man.
Absolutely.
You know, Citizens of Crime, we're kind of getting there. Like I gave them some equipment that I had as far as my old setup and stuff, but you know, we just don't have the time to, you know, like really get connected as far as showing them how I edit and how I do things. But you guys do things totally different.
We do.
From me, but it works for you.
Absolutely.
And that's the great thing about you know, what we do is there's not a roadmap.
No.
But that's the thing I've found with these quote unquote gurus of podcasting is they try to give you this roadmap that we had this great idea and then it went to this. It's all luck.
No, it is. Absolutely.
really all luck.
Well,
Yeah.
and like I've been watching a lot of videos because we're trying to break into the YouTube thing, and I've been watching so many videos recently of other YouTubers that have kind of been there, done that. They've been doing it for 4 or 5 years. Maybe they started like when YouTube was really getting going.
Absolutely.
When it was an HTTP.
Yeah, well, and there's so many of them that are like, oh yeah, you can totally film in 1080. You know, you can film.
Right.
Don't worry about it. When you look at what they're filming in, they're in 4K.
Yeah.
Like it's like, wait a minute, you're telling me, oh yeah, I can totally do 1080 and
It'll
just
be
standard
fine.
HD. It'll be. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I can actually say from the short experience that we've had since we've gotten kind of the studio set up, 1080p is fine.
It is, and
fine.
I'm in the wedding videography business, and you know, I am here to tell you, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm a super successful like wedding videographer.
Well,
but
obviously you are because you can't attend mine, but whatever. Whatever,
booked-
Michelle.
Oh,
in
dun dun.
in 2022, I have booked 20 weddings, which is no small
Holy
feat.
shit!
Yeah, I've been very busy.
Well,
Dude.
you're very busy.
Girl
and,
bossing.
shout out to one of my best friends, Michael Gerald, who was actually in my wedding. Chelsea
Yes.
Gerald, one of the
Love some
the
Chelsea.
best wedding photographers and just photographers
Hands down.
out there.
Yeah, hands down.
She
Chelsea.
is booked through 2024.
Yeah.
Heck
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
And she's
she's
doing family sessions and mini sessions. I
Yeah.
finally got one for November.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's done all of our podcast
Yes.
photos. And like that
Done
was
all of
something
my family photos,
we-
newborn photos.
absolutely like we wanted to come across from the very beginning as like professional.
Yeah.
And I cringe whenever podcasts post selfies
Yeah.
because it doesn't.
Weren't you
that's-
just talking about taking a selfie earlier?
No, I'm not. We're going to set this up on a tripod and we're going to make it look right. I'm telling you, there is
We're
a
gonna
way
take a
to
professional
do it.
photo.
It is, yeah.
Got it.
But like, as soon as I realized, like, okay, this is something that people are actually going to enjoy and follow along with. Like, we need photos of me and you in our
Well, it helps.
natural
It
habitat.
helps your audience connect with you. Yeah.
Exactly. The minute that we posted our faces on our Instagram, things blew up.
Yeah.
And it was because they had an emotional connection to us. They saw the faces behind the microphones. And it was
Well-
because of her.
And I mean, don't take this the wrong way. Y'all are cute too. So I mean, it helps.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll talk to you,
sweet.
fucker.
Fuck off.
But
You're as cute as my boot.
Look, this chin is cuter than this chin. It's covered by hair, so just.
What about the other 4?
let's face it, though, a lot of
you
a lot of our listeners are female, and they don't really care about what we look at. Like, I mean, you know, they connected with us because they saw who we
If
were.
anybody cared what we look like, we would have 0 listeners.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But no, actually, that kind of where I was going with that was, it's something I noticed within women. And it's something I commend y'all for is y'all got each other's backs. Y'all can be some
yeah.
catty ass bitches to each other too. Like, don't get me
Absolutely.
wrong. And y'all can like keep that shit under the wraps and like hold a grudge against this bitch for like 5 years and like be sweet as pie to her fucking face.
I
if
call
you
that being
Southern,
Well,
no,
a frenemy.
a frenemy, keep the bitch
I
close.
there we go, because I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
So yeah, no, that works.
well, so here's the thing too that gentlemen, advice that your father or maybe grandfather should have given you is that men, such as Chris and I, socialize by insulting each other. Right, you stupid bearded fuck.
Pudgy bastard.
Legit.
But women, such as Candy and Michelle, socialize by
Building each other up.
No, they socialize by complimenting each other. And the funny thing is neither one of us mean it.
a little bit on account of the fact that like I will respect a woman so much more who fixes my crown instead of telling me that it was crooked.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
No,
I mean,
no.
that is something that like, and you run that fine line, unfortunately, because women are, as we've stated in these, true crime episodes, like we're manipulative and we don't play clean. I mean,
well,
we
you see,
play dirty.
You
I
women
can
support.
be mature and I can be polite to you, but I don't have to like you.
Well, the
See,
same thing.
y'all have been best friends for a long time. I know that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so y'all
long.
support the shit out of each other.
Yes, absolutely. This
But
bitch has my back.
y'all still support the shit out of bitches you don't like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I take it back. I take it back to we go to the same bar. Let's say we go to what's the stupid ass bullshit bar with no doors on the stalls in the bathroom downtown.
Oh,
It's on. It's
I'm
on.
too old for that bullshit.
Damn it.
Is it a strip club?
No,
There's only two in town.
there's a stupid bar. There's a stupid bar
stalls.
downtown
It's a strip
where
club.
one of the bartenders hate me because
Like
I've
Silver
made
Moon
memes
Saloon
about
or
it.
something like that?
No, it's across the street from Gatsby's.
Harley's?
Where the guy got shot.
Burke Street Pub.
Burke Street Pub.
Yeah, the
They don't-
fucking syphilis on a
Yeah,
in
like
a bar.
the bartenders
Yeah.
won't serve me because I made one meme about their bar not having
Burt Street
fucking
doesn't have any
not
doors.
not in the men's room because the men were doing too much coke in the bathroom, so they don't have.
I thought all you
they
needed
lost
was
their
a
door
sink.
privilege.
They lost their door privilege. Yeah, yeah, but so we go.
No, you go
stall
in the
for the
bathroom
cocaine.
stall because
But
it's private.
But there's a difference. Like we go downtown.
They're like the
and-
high end ones.
exactly. It's real-
apparently in the girls' room they just do that shit out in the open.
Yeah.
They're like, here, bitch, let's go.
Here you go. Do it off my
Yeah.
arm.
Yeah, so you want to have a
I'll
real
hold it
Winston
for
Salem
you.
experience.
Here,
You go
you
to
need
Burke
some
Street
help.
Pub.
Jesus.
But in the bathroom, I'm like, hey man, that's a cool hat, and I mean it. But in the women's room, it's like, hey, I like your boots. Fucking bitch. With your stupid boots.
You don't
This bitch tried
understand.
to steal my
No,
boots.
okay, wait.
We
Time out,
make
time out.
lifelong friends in the bar bathroom.
No, if you're
In
going
a
to the
woman's
bar and you're
bathroom.
drinking and you're having a conversation in the bathroom at the bar or the club or whatever, that's a totally different conversation.
No, and that is your best friend before you leave. Like
Oh, yeah.
seriously, like if you meet this bitch in the bathroom, that is instantly a best friend.
Now, if we're at Target and I see this girl and I'm just
I wouldn't know who she was, but if she's drunk in a bathroom, I know you.
Yep.
Well,
Okay, we are getting so far off.
All right, back on
Okay,
Dahmer.
On
so
a tangent.
just based on that conversation though, y'all really need to come back and,
Oh, we
and just
absolutely will.
fuck around.
Yes.
Like you
Yes,
guys
we
need to come
we'll
back
have
and do that.
we will name it Happy Hour Fuck Around.
fuck around and find out.
yeah, we'll do an FAFO episode.
There we go.
Yes,
I love it. But we're trying to get back to some Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
So
We're talking about some inconsistencies. So
Absolutely.
obviously we talked about some inconsistencies with the characters in the Netflix series versus the actual reality. Another inconsistency, I think, is ultimately one of the things that really bothered me, and we touched on this very lightly earlier on in this episode, but was the connection that you make with that character. Emotionally, intellectually, all of that really bothered both me and Candy while we were watching it because, obviously whenever we're researching these people for our podcasts and our episodes, we stay on the victim side. We always say in our episode, we feel bad for the child, not the adult. We always touch base on the childhood of these serial killers because we do want to know where they came from, what they went through. Was that a contributing factor or not? Unfortunately, with this Netflix series, I feel like they really, they hammered it into you that his mother was, just a terrible person and didn't give a shit. And his dad was just lost in what he was doing. And I don't really truly believe that portrayed the actual relationship that they had.
well, looking at the time period, 1965, 1970, those, late 70s or late 60s, early 70s, how much of that is just our understanding of what the family dynamic should be and how much of that is what the family dynamic should be
Right.
That was
in the 1960s?
Well, that was the come home when the streetlights turn on.
Well, and that was for my generation too. But in that era, the late 60s, the husbands were never home.
Right.
Like dad, like mom were in the house.
Absolutely. She didn't work.
Well, she didn't work. She was left abandoned with kids or a couple of kids, and she had very little adult interaction. And dad was always gone. And in this case, he was...
Well, no, there was bridge in the Sunday paper. That was her adult interaction.
Yeah, they played
playing
bridge.
bridge,
Yeah,
like-
it was the girl thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that like...
Thank you for knowing what that is.
Put yourself in those shoes.
Yeah.
If the only adult interaction, the only time you guys got to see each other was every Sunday, you guys got to play bridge for a few hours. How fucking nuts would that drive you?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Bonkers.
And so we've got a time period where women are put in this bubble where they're supposed to stay home, they're supposed to take care of the house, they're supposed to do this, they're supposed to be this, they're supposed to be that, they're supposed to support their husbands, they're not supposed to ask any questions.
Right.
And their husbands are supposed to go off and be the breadwinners. So is it very possible that his mom had a lot of shit she was dealing with, and she went to
Possibly.
the doctor and said, "I've got this, this, and this," and the doctor's like, "Oh yeah, here's a whole
Pills,
shitload of
pills,
pills." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so the problem I have with that is I hate what ifs. Because you can what if out your ass.
Yeah,
and-
but based
No,
on
it is documented that she was on a very high level of medication during her
right. But
pregnancy
what I'm
and
saying
during
is,
his
but
childhood.
what I'm saying is the motivation.
Right.
Well,
But-
but you have to look at it historically, and that's exactly what I'm doing. You can look at so many examples of where women were marginalized to the point where the phrase "mommy's little helper." Have you ever heard that before?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what they're referring to? Pharmaceuticals. They're referring to
so.
Valium. Valium at the
I was about
time
to say
was
Valium.
mommy's little
Yeah.
helper.
That's a soccer mom drug.
Yeah, because mom had so much bullshit she was dealing with. She was told she wasn't smart enough to go to college. She couldn't
Right.
do this. She couldn't do that.
She wasn't
All-
expected to work.
She wasn't expected to work. She wasn't allowed to work
No,
in
I
so
was about
many
to say, yeah, so
instances.
many times not allowed.
And she's supposed to do all these things and be like this perfect little housewife.
And
soon as
look amazing
as
at
soon
the
as
same
her
time.
husband, as soon as her husband
June
hit the
Cleaver.
door,
Yeah.
as soon as her husband hit the door, and she's supposed to be perky and happy, and fuck you.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I know this is guy wire, but this is one of the problems in our society that is we're still dealing with the problems from that
Oh,
era.
yeah.
Well, we're still dealing with those problems, and one of the things that I think that again gets lost. Again, I know that you guys have your podcast based on men's mental health and what you guys are going through, but I do think that even in that realm, it gets lost on what women actually deal with when it comes to the fact that like this whole societal situation that we're built on was built back in the day when women didn't work.
Right.
And-
Now
that's
we're
not just
expected
a-
to do all of the same things.
I don't-
plus
Plus work.
hold a 40-hour-week job, which
I think
most
that's
of us
bullshit.
do.
I think that's bullshit. For you, not for us, because the economy was at a point where, yes, we could have a single income,
Exactly.
and the men could be out and be the breadwinners, and then come home and
Right.
play with the kids, and the women could maintain the household and do the laundry, and that's one like really a pain point that Wifey Sauce and I have had is because she's been the man, because her and her baby daddy have been apart for a while
Yeah.
before I met her,
Sure.
and then we have a kid now, and it's like there's a battle of what are the chores? What are the household chores?
When-
When do I
And I don't
enrich?
think they should be assigned. I think that, hey, if you see some dirty freaking dishes, put them in the dishwasher.
But
Well,
that's
I
not,
don't think-
that,
I don't-
that
I-
can't always be the case.
I don't think there's any problem with like making an agreement to divide up the chores. That's fine. I mean, every couple's going to figure that out on their own. The problem we have now is we're put into a society where inflation has gotten so freaking crazy that everything is so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
That
You can't
you
maintain
cannot
it without two
function. Yeah,
incomes.
exactly.
Well, even that-
and you get into this catch-22, especially if you have younger children, like I know you do,
Yeah.
and you do as well. Do we pay for daycare? Do I stay home and
Right. Does that supplement enough?
Well, and because my wife was in a situation where literally we paid $1,700 a month for daycare, and her income after taxes was $1,800
Yeah.
a month.
See, that's
She was bringing home $100 after we paid for daycare.
Yeah.
Well, what
So
I
it
was-
made more sense. Go ahead.
What I was getting at with that whole thing is, there can't ever be like a perfect handshake with this, right? With both parents working.
Yeah.
It's always there's
a
going to be
compromise.
and I don't feel good. I'm so tired. I've had a really rough week on either part. Even if it's a stay-at-home mom, your son has been a terror.
Right.
I understand that
Yeah.
because I work from home a good amount of time, and he gets sick, and like I have to work from home as well as watch him, and then try to make sure that I am eating and drinking water
Right.
and have energy, and then she gets home, but she's had a bad day at work, and she has to have a depression nap or whatever because I respect her mental health.
Absolutely.
And it's so different than the simplicity, I want to say, of like the 1950s and the 1960s of post-war, where yes, the inflation is a big part of that. Both people have to be putting in 100%
just to break even.
just to break even.
Yeah. You forget getting ahead.
But the problem is we don't always have 100% to put in.
And
No.
I think that's one of the. I know that I tuned into your Checkmate episode whenever you guys were discussing toxic femininity.
Yeah.
And I was very upfront.
Thank you for calling us.
We talked about that?
I don't think
You
you
were-
were.
Oh, okay.
think
I
it
was like, wait,
you
did we
were-
talk
I
about
think,
that?
I think it was me,
you weren't
Bishop,
there.
and Bill, Wild Bill.
Well,
Gotcha,
Bill,
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
And they were discussing like toxic femininity, and they had, this whole idea of why it was okay for women.
That was
to put
right.
that forward.
Well, that was right after the Jada Pinkett Smith Emmy bullshit happened, to where
Johnny Depp and
Oh yeah.
Johnny Depp.
the
yeah,
whole
Amber.
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And, one of the things that I expressed when I, called in and spoke to you guys about it was that I oddly enough, you guys are going to think that I'm crazy. I
No.
am not a feminist.
No.
I don't support it at all.
Well, I don't
I
think.
am an extremely independent woman.
Well, I don't think any
But-
person that supports traditional family values,
Right.
and I'm not even talking about conservative versus liberal or anything else,
Right.
because like I've mentioned many times in the past with Chris, we are libertarians, constitutionalists. Smoke your weed, defend it with a firearm,
Right.
go have sex with your gay lover, and don't let anybody talk about it. If it doesn't affect my life,
Right.
then I don't have a fucking word to say about it.
Exactly.
Well, and feminism hit a point. I want to
Let Michelle make her point before you go there.
Well, I think that it's strange. It's an oddity for a woman like myself who is so independent, who owns her own business, who, is
Yes, Queen.
boss bitch.
who's in a position where, I am supporting myself really to say that I'm not a feminist, The point is my husband and I, we live in a partnership. It is not a situation where, one of the things that really hit home was that, I'm with my husband because he is everything that I'm not. And he balances that. And he, I don't expect certain things from him. I am also on the exact side of that petty situation where I will pile everything on that trash can until it falls over because it is literally the only job that he has in the household.
Okay, is it the only job he has?
My husband works second shift.
Okay, is it the only job he has?
Right,
in the
yard,
household?
like yard work, like blowing leaves,
We-
mowing
My
grass.
husband mows their yard.
Pay Candy's husband. to mow our yard. No, he does not have any yard work. I'm not going to.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just.
No, like
it's
I said,
a genuine question.
I'm not going to get into the situation of whether or not we. But my point is, we adhere to gender roles because that is what works for us.
It's easier.
It's easier.
Sure.
I maintain the household. I pay less bills because of that, though. I still contribute money to the household because I work a full-time job. I also own my own business. He gets none of that income.
Okay, that's fair.
So, I work a 40-hour-a-week job. I utilize that portion of our bills. We have a spreadsheet. Oddly enough,
Of course
if
you
you
do.
didn't guess,
Imagine with Michelle, she has a spreadsheet.
there is a spreadsheet that
And there's a backup folder just in
Does
case
it-
that gets
just in
deleted.
case it gets
Does it?
deleted. That
Tell him what
calculates.
to pack when he goes to work.
It calculates my income versus his income and our percentage of the bills. So
Okay.
if we were to split everything 50-50, I would be broke and he would have all this money left over. That's not fair.
I would say that's stupid healthy the way you guys have that
Yeah.
set up.
The benefit of it is we don't fight about money.
Yep.
Period, point
And
blank.
that's one of the biggest pain points with a lot of couples.
Well, see, I fight wifey sauce for money.
Does she support
The problem is she
certain
kicks
habits?
your ass.
She does, but people bet on me, so we both win.
You see, I would argue that the need for feminism ended right about 1990.
Yeah. All those women that burned all those bras, like, really fucked shit up for us.
No. That all took place in the 60s. That needed to happen back then.
Sure.
Because at that point in time, the equity was so imbalanced.
It was, yeah.
Women were, they weren't allowed to buy a house without their husband signing off on it.
Yeah.
You couldn't get a credit card without your husband signing off on it.
Yep.
So, I mean, there were some definite inequities there. But we hit a point where things kind of leveled out and then women kept pushing. Kept pushing. There are some businesses and there are some industries where women are not paid equally.
Sure.
But
I'm in one of them.
But is it a law that they are to be paid equally? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So,
But we're not.
well, but there's a law that says you are, or says you should be. So
And
I
we
mean,
fought for that law.
Yeah, exactly. And you earned it, and you got it,
Right.
and
Nobody fought me for that law because I'd have beat their ass.
some
I
of.
would have been making so much more money right now.
But I feel
But then
so
I'm
much of
a
the feminist movement has pushed so far beyond supporting women and onto just absolutely berating men.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
tearing
And
them
that's what
down
I don't support.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the toxic femininity that we came to. But
Exactly.
we've had a lot of that conversation. We've had a lot of the.
We have got to get back on
We've done like 3 different episodes simultaneously.
Which is why we needed to do this again.
We have
On a more
and we will do this again.
traditional
However,
platform.
let's do this. Let's wrap this one up.
And let's get into-
with a Dahmer streaming on Disney.
It's ridiculous.
I can show you a world.
I mean, at least it's not Food Network.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Diners, Dahmers, drive-ins, and dives.
Commerce drive-ins and dives.
I love it.
All right.
Okay, so on
Dahmer's
our
drive-in.
podcast, we normally end most of our episodes with some freaky facts or freaky laws, something along the lines.
I have a freaky fact, but you go ahead first. Let me start the music up here.
Boom, boom, boom. So I've put together a handful of like Halloween facts. Our jack-o'-lantern comes from the Irish legend of Stringy Jack.
Stringy Jack. Tell me more about
Yeah.
Stringy Jack.
I am so glad you asked, Chris. So, legend has it that Stringy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him. But Jack didn't want to pay for the drink. So, he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin. Instead of buying the drink, he pocketed the coin and kept it close to a silver cross in his house, preventing the devil from taking shape again. Yeah. He promised to let the devil go as long as he would leave Jack alone for a year. And if Jack died, the devil wouldn't claim his soul. After a year, Jack tricked the devil again to leave him alone and not claim his soul. When Jack died, God didn't want Jack to send off
He didn't
into
want
the
Jack
night.
to-
He didn't want to jack off his uncle.
He didn't want Jack-
So God didn't want him, and the devil obviously couldn't claim him. So he was sent off into the night with a
That ain't
burning,
my jack off.
with a burning coal to light his path. He placed the coal inside of a turnip, and he's ultimately been roaming the earth ever since.
That's where jack-o'-lanterns got their start, was in turnips.
Yes. So that is the legend behind jack-o'-lanterns.
It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I have a fun Halloween fact for you.
What do you have for me?
So you've all seen Twilight, right?
Yes.
Was not hoping for that response.
Okay, so Team Jacob or Team Edward?
No,
Jacob.
nobody cares.
Jacob?
I
Nobody-
care,
no.
Jacob.
have
I am
no-
answering the
no,
question.
no dog in the
Jacob.
fight. Okay.
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Okay.
Jacob.
I'm
Just
not
a quick
obsessed.
survey.
So-
Just a quick survey.
Jacob.
You know how Bella got pregnant
Yes,
while she was a human.
correct.
Do you know why most sexual encounters with a vampire don't wind up in a pregnancy?
I mean, I'm assuming because they're not human.
No, it's not because of the
sperm are dead?
It's not because the sperm
Sperm
are
is dead.
No, it's not because the sperm are dead.
No.
It's because
Okay.
a vampire can't come inside without an invitation.
Wow.
Okay. Moving on.
I have so many off-color jokes that y'all couldn't handle that I'm not going to say.
Halloween
Yep.
is the second largest commercialized holiday in the country,
Behind Valentine's Day, I'm assuming.
And Christmas.
behind Christmas.
Oh, I was thinking about it. Okay.
It's ranked second only after Christmas. Consumers spend approximately $9 billion on Halloween in 2019, according to the National
On
Retail.
crappy costumes
Yep.
and candy?
Spending was down, of course, in 2020
Don't you
based on
insult
COVID.
Candy.
But
I know
Americans,
crappy candy.
She has been a delight.
No, I said crappy costumes and candy.
even with the pandemic, though, they still spent, consumers still spent over $8 billion overall, which is an average of $92 per person on Halloween paraphernalia.
I could see that.
I spend so much money on paraphernalia. Like,
How does that have anything to do with Halloween, though?
It doesn't.
I smoke weed on Halloween.
There you go. He's contributing.
I hit my dab pen on Halloween. I don't care what day it is. I go to sleep on my dab pen. I'm like, yeah, bruh.
Skittles are the top Halloween candy.
Wow.
Get the fuck out.
Not chocolate.
Ew.
The bite-sized fruit candies outrank M&M's, Snickers, and Reese Cups.
I have to disagree.
Reese's Cup and Snickers, like
No,
I mean, those
Reese's
have
Cups
got to
is
be the
my
king.
jam.
Yeah, those have got to be the kings of Halloween.
My daughter and I, okay, my daughter is 7, right? So she's like full trick-or-treating age, right? I bank on her Halloween candy. Like,
She still has a bucket.
She does, and it gets filled.
Oh, yeah, I
So,
was eating on it the other
on
night.
Halloween, we have an understanding that she can keep all of the candy. I get the Reese Cups.
Wow.
And she's
You-
good
you
with,
made
she's
out.
good with it.
Well, you see, both my kids know I like mounds.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I love a coconut
Don't make a joke
candy.
out of that.
Don't do it. Don't do it,
I mean,
Matt.
it's too easy.
Well, it's not-
Challenge yourself. So I get all the
Do
mounds.
you like Almond Joys?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
same
almond
thing.
joys and mounds. I get
Yes,
all
that's
those.
the
They get
jam.
everything else.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So she gets to keep everything. I get the Reese Cups. It's a.
You,
it's
you
a-
made out though. I mean, you got the Reese's. That's my son's like favorite.
Yes.
So like I ain't getting any of those.
Harry Houdini died on Halloween in 1926.
Do you know how-
Supposedly from a ruptured appendix.
Yes, from being punched in the abdomen.
There's some speculation as to whether or not that's true.
I'm gonna stick with the legend.
I like the legend as well. The fear of Halloween. You guys are gonna have to stick with me on this one. It's Samhainophobia.
Samhainophobia. Yeah.
Samhainophobia.
Who's Sam Hain?
Well, Samhain was the Halloween. That's the original. It's the day of
Yeah.
Samhain.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah, Samhain is like
Okay.
the legend. Yeah.
Samhain brings the pain.
so what was the pagan holiday that started Halloween?
Little weenie day.
Because they're all based on pagan.
It's not
holidays,
an act.
but,
That's not
you
a
know.
factual fact.
That's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing.
Not a factual fact.
So going
A
on.
factual fact.
It's the Vienna sausage holiday.
Pumpkins.
You gotta drink the juice.
Yeah.
We had a whole segment about this. So yeah.
Yeah. Gotta get your snot clot.
Pumpkins are classified as a fruit. They are not a vegetable. In fact, in 2006, New Hampshire declared that the state that the state fruit was a pumpkin.
Isn't it like part of the squash family though? Isn't it like a separate thing? Like
I
squash?
always thought it was a vegetable.
I thought it was about
I thought it was
It's
a
the same
squash.
thing as tomato being
Well, I
a
thought
fruit.
squashes were separate, like they were their own
I
like
thought
deal.
squash was a vegetable.
Squish.
Well, but
Squash is an
squish
vegetable.
squash.
They say that pumpkins are fruit.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they have seeds.
It's fact. It's in my paper.
It's science.
Yeah.
It's like an
just like a tomato.
You just
fruit
got
doesn't
science.
make
What?
any
An apple.
sense.
Well, an apple. It's not because of the flavor. It's because the seeds are on the inside.
Yeah.
And a strawberry.
Is that the
is
only thing that determines a fruit versus a vegetable?
pretty much like a
What
strawberry.
about a strawberry?
It's a vegetable. The seeds are on the outside.
You just rocked my world.
You're welcome.
So a cucumber is
I
fruit.
didn't have to touch
I
it.
was
Shit.
I was waiting for waiting for the 180.
October 31st is not only Halloween, but it is also National Doorbell Day.
Oh,
Like
so
Ding
that's
Dong Ditch?
Yeah, we play Ding Dong Ditch. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what that is.
Have to remember that.
Okay. I don't know how far you guys want me to keep going.
Yeah, let her
Okay.
rip, Tater Chip.
So I have a couple of Halloween crimes.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, all of these have to do with parents killing their children.
Oh God.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a little
Happy
rough.
Way to bring it.
Halloween.
You're going to bring us up after this, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
So in 1970,
Right after I kill my kid.
So in 1970, a 5-year-old boy named Kevin Toston allegedly ate Halloween candy laced with heroin.
Oh God.
Holy crap.
Investigators later discovered the heroin actually belonged to the boy's uncle and was not intended for the Halloween candy.
Jesus.
It gets a little darker.
It was into
Well,
it.
okay, I do have to pause you here. Folks, getting ready to send your kids out for trick-or-treating.
Yep.
I don't care how cool your kid is. I don't care how charming they are or how smart they are or how cool their costume is.
They're not getting free
No
drugs.
fucking pothead is going to give them their THC gummies.
Yeah, you
I don't
have
see
to
that.
check it.
Nobody's
You
going to
don't
do
have
that.
to check it.
Yeah. Like check for some razors or
I'm
some
not
shit.
giving my edibles to your kids.
No.
That shit costs
that
money.
shit's expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
You
we got to have
don't
that shit imported
to
in this
worry
state.
about it. Good Lord.
I just had to say that was like a disclaimer I
It's
had
a
to put out
huge
there.
stigma. It's ridiculous, people.
Public
PSA.
PSA, thank you.
Yeah. In 1974, 8-year-old Timmy O'Brien died of cyanide poisoning after eating Halloween candy. Investigators later learned that his father had actually taken out a $20,000 life insurance policy on both of his children, and he had poisoned them with a pixie stick.
That's it, 20 grand?
He also attempted to do the same thing with his daughter, but it didn't work.
What the heck?
Yeah, so there's
For 20 grand.
So, okay, when
Yeah,
did
for 20
this happened in
grand.
like 1970?
1974.
1974. Okay. So he
Can somebody do the calculation on the...
basically tried to kill his
No,
kids
probably
for like a house. Because that's like you could buy a cheap house
I was
for
about to
20
say,
grand at the time.
Yeah, what's the...
And maybe a car if you wanted to throw that in there too.
If you
I
wanted
mean,
to,
yeah.
if he
That's just
successfully
crazy.
killed both of them.
Mhm.
What's the currency?
The exchange rate.
What's the exchange rate
Calculate the
from
inflation.
1974?
I guarantee in the last 6 months it's gone really high.
Hey, man. Look,
It's gotten really high.
they used to call me Corn Pop.
Now they call you corn puff
They touch my hairy legs in the swimming pool. Okay?
and they smell your hair.
Did you find it?
No. Sorry, I wasn't looking at that. My bad.
I thought I gave a job to somebody. I did not.
No, what'd you say? Sorry.
What's the exchange rate?
Well, yeah,
don't
based on
know.
inflation, what would $20,000 be from 40 years ago? Yeah.
Oh, it's
know.
like,
I wasn't even trying to look that up.
$376,000.
Yeah, you got to carry the
We'll just go
5
with
and,
it.
I'm gonna
and
go do
divide
the-
by 2.
I'm gonna go
and-
do the toilet calculation.
Do you want me to continue?
Absolutely.
Okay. The movie Halloween. It's been kind of a big deal here recently.
A little bit.
So the original blockbuster movie, Halloween, was filmed in just 21 days.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the first one. It was a very low budget. They were not
That's
expecting.
still like hella fast. I mean,
it
that's
was.
like
Yeah, they were not expecting like what actually happened.
Ooh, fun fact on that though.
Yes.
You know Jamie Lee Curtis has never turned down a role.
Really?
Like anything?
And nothing.
She's amazing.
Well, if she gets offered a role, she considers it like an honor, like a privilege that they
she
wanted her to
should.
play in that role. So she feels it's disrespectful to turn them
That's
down.
an amazing way to look at it.
Yeah.
I
No, I've
respect
always
that.
felt it, yeah.
She makes
100%.
pretty damn good money.
I love her.
And Samuel L. Jackson's kind of the same way, but he just likes money and saying motherfucker.
Yeah. I was going to say, they give him a huge platform to do like whatever he wants to do, and they just run with it.
I mean, you guys are both parents.
We are.
Have you seen the TikTok or YouTube video? It is Just Go the Fuck to Sleep. It's like a child's book, Go the Fuck to Sleep, but it's narrated by Samuel L. Jackson.
You're kidding me.
No.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Dead
I
ass.
love that.
So
look
you
it
have
up.
to you have a 2-year-old, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you need to you will feel
Let me
this
just
in
show you.
every part of your soul.
Yeah. I have to look that
Just
up for
go the
sure.
fuck to sleep.
Just go the fuck to sleep.
Yeah, give me melatonin.
We do.
I used to give him
Not
whiskey.
all the,
And it's
not
okay.
all the time. I don't all the time.
Whiskey and Benadryl.
Yeah, that's
Just not at the same time.
That's our kid.
That's adorable.
In his little dinosaur costume.
Yeah, that's the cute part.
Oh, don't let him fool you. He's a fucking turd.
Oh yeah, he's a boy.
Chris was the first one. So I was pregnant when I met Chris.
Uh-huh.
That was the first encounter that we had.
She
And
snuck that one in on me
He
though.
specifically told me, he was like, you need to understand, kids are assholes.
Yes, he is.
Those are his exact words.
They are
to
the
me.
best worst roommates you can ever have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, this is what I do.
Kids are assholes, and I've hung
Like,
by that.
I mean, have you ever had a roommate that shits themselves in the living room?
And expects me to wipe their ass? No.
That's a horrible roommate.
Yeah. She will literally bitch
Oh
at
my
me.
god.
He's so proud of himself.
Oh hell yeah.
He's so freaking
He did
proud
good.
of himself.
She will literally bitch at me for not getting to her ass fast enough to wipe
so proud
it.
of himself.
And I'm like, excuse me?
Well, she's past that, right? I
No,
mean,
yeah,
well
absolutely.
past
No,
that.
we're well past that.
Yeah.
But I remember the time, and like you were in my head. Like she'd be like, "Mom, I'm done," and I'm like, "Chris told me."
Yep.
Okay, so the movie Halloween, blockbuster movie, was filmed in less than 21 days. The movie was originally titled Babysitter Murders.
Babysitter, that's a really lame title.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
The sounds of stabbing for the movie were made by knives being plunged into a watermelon.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. And because the original movie was on such a tight budget, they had to use the cheapest mask that they could find for the character of Michael Myers.
Which was a basic ass
Which is my
Halloween.
dad's name.
Wait,
Which
what?
turned-
Michael Myers? Seriously?
Which turned out to be a William Shatner Star Trek mask. Shatner initially didn't know that the mask was like being used for that, but later when he found out, he said that he was honored.
That's
So
awesome.
they like just went in and kind of cut the eye holes out a little bit more to like make it more scary.
Huh.
Yeah, but like
That's
super low budget.
Kind of a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of freaky Halloween laws as well. So in an attempt to decrease robberies and crime on Halloween, Walnut Creek in California banned masks without a permit.
Okay.
So you had to have a permit to wear a mask.
Only in California. Though.
Only
Like they
in
come up with the
California.
goofiest. Like I lived there for way too long. They come up with the goofiest shit.
Yeah, they're a different breed over there. In Missouri, it is illegal to ask for candy if you are over the age of 13.
That's
So,
so crappy.
It is. Really.
so what if like your kid was like, I want my mom, but he knows your name's Candy? Is
He
he
does.
breaking the
No.
law?
Tonight, no, not to be
Goofy
funny,
fucker.
but tonight his grandparents were over, and
Mama, I want candy.
I was like, "Bye, buddy. I'll see you later." And he's like, "Bye, Candy." I was like, "Do what?" He's like, "Bye, Mama."
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I said, "What's your
Yeah,
name?"
I
He was
mean-
like, "Your name, Candy."
I'm in the same boat. So my
Mama.
stepdaughter calls me Matt or Matthew when I'm in trouble.
I was about to say only
Well,
when
I
you're
mean-
in trouble.
No. I mean, your son calls me "Hey man."
Hey, Herman.
Well, it comes out Herman half
Yeah.
the time, but it's
Herman.
like "Hey man." I'm like,
Yeah.
Man.
no, Chris.
Yeah, but
Hey man,
man.
Chris,
or Uncle
hey
Chris,
man,
or Uncle, or Unc,
something.
whatever. But he's a hey man. But yeah, like so now she'll like, Matt, can I have some popcorn? They get home about the same time every day, so he's like, Matt, popcorn? I'm like, no, dog. Dada popcorn.
Popcorn. In Dublin, Georgia, it is illegal for anyone over the age of 16 to wear a mask, sunglasses, or any other facial coverings on Halloween.
So if it's sunny
Sunglasses?
out, you can't wear sunglasses
Yeah, you're just
on
fucked.
Halloween.
What if I want
just
to wear
gotta
my
be blind.
sunglasses at night so I can sleep?
I'm just saying it's a law that's
I
currently in
wear
place in
my
Dublin, Georgia.
sunglasses at night.
So I can. In Alabama, it is illegal to dress up as a priest or as a nun on Halloween.
In Alabama,
I mean,
In
out of all the
Alabama.
things in Alabama, that's what you're going to make a law.
right?
They felt like those things were important.
Oh,
I mean, you can dress up like the Klan. That's okay,
That's
but don't dress up
fine.
like a priest.
Don't throw in the nuns. I can't. Right?
I think it's the eyeliner that does it for me.
It's the blue.
It's the eyeshadow.
Yeah, it's the eyeshadow that I can't with right now. You can stay like that. I have, very last but not least, some freaky candy facts. Candy with a C, not with a K. The original creator of Milk Duds wanted to make the candies into perfect circles. When that proved impossible, he called them duds. He added the word milk to refer to the large amount of milk used to make the candy.
So they're just milk rejects.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
But they were.
Okay, I can get behind that.
The average bag of candy that one child will collect on Halloween contains about 11,000 calories.
oh my
Holy
God.
shit.
I eat that for
Only?
lunch.
What?
I eat
Those
that
are rookie numbers. That kid needs to bring those numbers up.
pump yeah.
Challenge accepted.
I remember trick-or-treating when I was little, and I would have like a whole pillowcase full.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
And that's
Like
so
these
not the
little
case
bucket
now.
things? No, get out of here with that. I need a whole pillowcase.
I
Like
need
the,
the
like the
pillowcase,
bullshit
yeah.
McDonald's buckets, the new
Yeah.
ones are so
I got-
they're
Where do
so
we put some
small.
buckets?
Yes, I got Jacob a Happy Meal on our way home.
And it
tonight,
came with
so
the bucket.
He was fed, and I didn't have to worry about it.
Didn't even have
And-
the stupid lid. It's a cardboard thing, and now it's got like the silhouette of the lid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, McDonald's sucks, man.
It's like
Like-
this little thing, and I'm like, you have a bigger bucket in your closet that
Yeah.
we used last year.
Like
And
when
you're
I was a
"What?"
kid, we trained all year for October 31st. I mean, it was like
Absolutely. You
we
were ready.
prepped for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you nothing less than a pillowcase
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
because you're going to fill
We're
that bitch.
slacking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So kids nowadays just don't understand.
No.
No.
The least healthy Halloween candy is candy corn.
Ugh.
It's
Just-
it shouldn't be a thing.
It's a
Like
thing.
just make no.
It's hard
Do you
pork
like
corn.
candy corn?
it's
No,
what?
it's hard pork
Do you
corn.
like candy corn?
Hard pork corn.
You like candy corn, don't you? Michelle
What?
likes
Michelle likes
corn.
hard pork corn.
Candy corn is
It is hard
disgusting.
pork corn.
Yeah, it's hard pork corn. It's not like the the stuff out of the can,
Hard pork.
which is soft pork corn.
I don't hate candy corn.
What?
It's disgusting.
I know.
It's
I
not as bad
know
as circus
it-
peanuts. It's not as bad as circus peanuts. Circus peanuts are freaking horrible.
Are you talking about the puffy? Oh my God! Do people even do that anymore?
I have
Yeah.
no idea what the fuck.
There's a
you're talking
big argument
Yes,
on
you
the internet.
do.
There's a big argument on the internet now
The
of circus peanuts.
That you have
versus-
to break open to eat.
No,
You don't have
about. No,
to.
no, those
Oh,
are
no,
like
the
real
candy.
peanuts.
Oh, like the candy
like at
circus
the baseball
peanut.
farm.
Yeah, it's like
No.
a fucking hard marshmallow.
Yes,
I
The
don't like
hard
those.
marshmallow.
Yeah, I've never
They come in
had those. They
packages.
never looked anywhere.
They're
any,
not
like, no,
good.
Yeah,
No,
They're not
I don't
good.
like those. No, and you're weird because you like candy corn.
yeah, no. I mean, I've always known she's a little weird.
I don't
That's what I
mind.
kind of
Now
liked
it's just
about her,
like,
but you
Now
know.
he knows why.
So
Yeah.
I don't mind candy corn,
I don't
but
eat
it's
it in
it's not
excess.
it's not like I'll eat like 2 of them.
2 or 3.
and I'll be like,
yeah.
okay, Halloween's over.
I'm good. Yeah, I
I'm not
don't.
eating
I don't
none of
sit
them.
there and eat. I don't buy them specifically, but if I have them available, I will eat them. I don't hate candy
Absolutely
corn.
not.
Just
No,
15 pieces.
Honestly, candy corn's like the green Jello with the walnuts that nobody wants to eat at Christmas.
Don't get us started on the green Jello. We host a true crime podcast, Chris. You don't want to talk to us about the green Jello on our true crime podcast. Okay.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're at 3 hours and 12 minutes. Right
We have
now.
2 episodes.
It will be edited.
couple.
Okay. Just 15 pieces of candy corn equals 110 calories and 22 grams of sugar. The healthiest Halloween candy is Hershey's Special Dark.
I like dark chocolate.
I love dark chocolate. Do you guys like dark chocolate?
No, because I'm not a
No.
woman.
Oh, I do.
I don't have a
think that
period.
It has anything to do with it being.
That has nothing to do with it.
He's don't
you like
yeah.
it?
I love dark chocolate.
There you go.
Dark
No.
chocolate.
Okay.
I love dark
Has
chocolate. I
nothing
love
to do
dark.
with having a
Have you
penis.
had-
I love dark chicken
Yeah.
meat.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The dark
There
meat.
is
Yeah.
some though dark chocolate that is just like
Super bitter.
yes.
Yeah. most
And
of
I'll
it's
eat
bitter.
that too. But like even the semi-sweet
Well, that's
bacon
'cause you are
chocolate,
super bitter.
Like I'll buy that and just eat off that. I don't
No.
care.
I was wanting some dark chocolate, and I went into the stupid calf that we have.
Did
and-
they have a black couch like all leather?
No.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I bought some, and it was like not even entertaining it. Not even entertaining it.
She's just like, I'm moving on.
And it was like 70% or whatever. It wasn't like the dark chocolate I was wanting, and I bit into it thinking I was getting like Hershey's Special Dark Chocolate, and
Yeah.
it was so bitter, and I was like, this is bullshit. Bullshit.
Well, on that note,
Ladies, y'all have been absolutely awesome to have on with us, and it's been an awesome change of pace because I think we get stuck into our toxic masculinity.
Toxic
we be on our bullshit.
Yeah.
You
Oh, absolutely,
always
We are on
absolutely.
our
bullshit.
Yeah. But I think your bullshit complemented our bullshit.
I think our bullshit
and
definitely
I think this has been
complemented
We
absolutely.
we maybe didn't get to where we were going with Dahmer, but that's fine.
you know.
Touched
Hey.
on it.
It-
We
well,
did.
you guys are going to
And-
do a full episode.
Yes,
We- yeah,
we'll do a
we
full
are.
So
episode
they
on
can
it.
like the listeners can tune into your full episode
Yes.
and get the full download on Dahmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I like that.
Absolutely.
We were so Matt Fright Night,
Mhm.
Chris the Axe Killer Andrews,
Ooh, I like that.
Michelle the Cold Collar Cash, and Candy Cane.
And that's just because you don't know her last name.
Oh, I do know her last name.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I do.
I'll shut the fuck up.
I will give y'all a fact that my dad's name is Michael Myers.
Fuck off.
No,
Swear
she's
to
not
God.
kidding.
Swear to God, that's
Like
my dad's name.
Halloween
Her
would have been
dad's
squared
name
away
is
for him
Michael
every
Myers.
year.
When I was in trouble, when I was growing up, my dad would call, and his
He'd be like, "Yeah, baby, yeah."
tone was the Halloween
Oh, that's
theme
Mike
song.
Myers.
Yep.
Sorry.
The Halloween theme song,
Yeah.
Michael Myers.
I knew I was in trouble when my dad called because it was the Halloween theme song.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
So-
there you go. Halloween episode, my absolute favorite holiday. Glad we got to do this crossover episode.
You know
Are
what?
you dressing up
no,
for Halloween?
I don't know.
Come on,
What?
Matt.
You
It's
have
your
a week.
favorite holiday.
It's your favorite holiday.
It is, but like I
mean, it's the
that's
one.
a-
It's the one time a year you can like go out in drag and not be judged.
well, that's
Right. Come on. You have to take that opportunity.
that's another story about
Another day.
how I'm
Yeah.
so disappointed about Halloween this year, but neither here nor there. I don't like being told what Halloween is for me, and I've so far this year been told what Halloween is going to be for me, so I'm
No, fuck that.
probably not gonna
Halloween's
dress
what
up.
Halloween's what it is. to
Halloween
you.
is what you make it.
Yeah, I'm going to take the kid trick-or-treating. I'm going to watch Rocky Horror. That's probably going to be about it.
Okay.
And I'm going to smoke a bunch of reefer.
Okay.
So what are your Halloween plans, ladies?
We are moms, so we are
the kid.
Taking the
going to
little
be
ones?
taking the little ones
Okay.
out trick or treating. I will say that I have like an indefinite Halloween costume, and it is a Harry Potter costume. So I have.
So which Hermione or what are you?
I do not dress up as an actual like Harry Potter person.
You make up your own
I
character.
dress up as a Harry Potter themed person. So
That is
She's
the
an
uber Potter nerd. Like you don't even pick a specific character.
no,
you like
because
you make
I
your
am
own
my
up.
own character.
Yeah, you're so like enveloped in the canon that you're like
Yep.
I can make my own Harry Potter.
Yep.
character.
Also,
That's
I didn't appreciate the reference to my husband in Voldemort. So, I'm just letting you know he
Let
would
him take
be.
the hat off. Just let him take the hat off.
Do you need to see a picture? I have one.
I
have
forgot
seen.
about
I have
that.
seen one. It was just an inside joke.
No,
with
I'm
me
not-
and
I
just-
totally forgot about that.
Just
But
kidding.
yeah, but
No.
I do think you might have married him because it kind of looks like Voldemort.
I mean, it fits.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm just saying I didn't appreciate it. But
That's cool. You know what's funny though? Like, I don't know him that well, but like the 2 times I've been over to your house, Will has been so freaking cool. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
no,
like
he's a really nice guy.
I feel like he could be like an awesome friend if he could understand my brand of humor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he puts up with Michelle, so I
That's
mean,
true.
that says a lot about him.
It does. It does.
You know?
Does.
It's like-
immense patience.
But no, yeah, like I said, I refuse to dress up as an actual like Harry Potter person. I am just part of the scene, so that's my costume.
So you're an extra.
Yeah, I'm
Gotcha.
an extra.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I've been an extra. I can relate. Yeah.
All right. Well, from Sips of Crime and Guywire, Matt Knight, Chris Andrews, Michelle Cash, Candy Day, signing off. Don't just be one of the guys
Or girls.
Be that guy
Or girl.
or that girl.
Happy
Y'all,
Halloween.
thank y'all so much.
Happy Halloween.
Boo.